Good, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Trackmania Apac Regional number 2 Finals Day. We've got the semi-finals to play and then the grand final. 4 amazing teams competing. We've got Asia Overdrive, we've got Voby, we've got Dynasty, and we've got Ferox. This should be a really exciting day, Gex.
Absolutely, and first up's going to be Voby IDN versus Asia Overdrive. So seeing Kuda and Spark take on Spider and Starlight's going to be interesting. Spider had some consistency issues, particularly in reps yesterday. So I am keen to see how this goes for them.
Indeed, but we should start by introducing ourselves for the people who are joining us today. I'm your host, your Thunder from Down Under, your beautiful Australian caster, Ed Amame TV. Joining me, this lovely man who's wearing a very fancy shirt today. How are you, Mr. Gex?
Yeah, fantastic. I thought I'd wear my Sunday best for our Sunday best.
Oh, exactly. Feeling good like you should. That's what it's supposed to be. But hopefully these players will be feeling good as we do get started with the first match. Coming shortly, it should be that Voby versus Asia Overdrive match, and that should be some really exciting stuff there.
What kind of maps are you expecting out of these guys? Because we saw a large variety of maps yesterday. I'm sure that both of us are really hoping for some more aero pipes, but what do you think is likely?
Look, I'm hoping for some aero pipes as well. We do love our aero pipes here on the stream, and we hope that the players could do well with that. But for me, I'm hoping for some Flip of Faith as well. We haven't seen enough Flip of Faith. We want some of that. Haven't seen freestyle a lot either. I don't even think we saw a freestyle match yesterday. So maybe have some. Maybe some
freestyle. I'd be very, very keen to see. It doesn't seem to be anybody's favorite map through here, though. We're not seeing it. And I have rarely seen it banned away either, so it's just not getting picked.
Yeah, it's not one of those maps that like gets picked or banned. People are like, no, I don't want to play freestyle.
Yeah, it's just we ignore that exists. This has been the general consensus.
But as we do get into it, let's see how we go here. We are actually entering pick and ban phase, and this should be the pick and ban with Asia Overdrive picking the banning the first map, and let's see what they go for. Can we get a ban on back and forth? Interesting starting pick.
Super important that they get their picks and bans right here and play to their advantage, because we've got 3 matches left today in the final matches for this, and the winner is going to go through to the All-Star event, so you really want to come out of this on top.
And knowing that, we've got a Slippy Slides ban coming in from Voby, Gyroscope Voby's pick, and then Flip of Faith. We just mentioned Flip of Faith, and they're back. Parkour, a Voby pick there. A lot of really interesting choices. Like, Flip of Faith is one of those maps where you have to be playing at the top of your tier, or you're going to be failing at that start over and over. So that's a solid pick there from Asia Overdrive.
Yeah, and they've got to be confident on it to make that pick as their first pick as well. So yeah, definitely keen to see how they go on Flip of Faith. I believe Spider, actually, the mech I've seen out of Spider really does suit that track, so I would hope that the consistency is there.
Indeed. And number 4, Agility Dash. We love our Agility Dash. We saw some great runs yesterday. One of your favorites, not one of my favorites, but Agility Dash on there as well. Slow down. It seems like we're doing the top ones. Will it be reps and aero pipes? So once again, we miss out on freestyle. Like, that's kind of disappointing. I wanted to see a bit of freestyle.
Yeah. And once again, not banned out either, like we were talking about. It's just a map that seems to get ignored. Like you said, I love myself a bit of Agility Dash. It is a tougher map as well, with the finish on it as well. We've seen consistency issues through that, but I think that makes it really exciting for stream as well. Those little snipe finishes, you see them all the time on Agility Dash.
That is one of those things about Agility Dash that everyone is excited for. Seeing those close finishes and having some of those, like, complicated maps where we could have some close finishes, or it could just be game over in that regard. But not to mention, this is a very, like, this final is a pretty significant final for these guys. Whoever wins this will get at least 5 World Tour points, and that's going to be handy going towards the promotion relegation tournament and potentially getting that top spot in the All-Star game coming up. Not to mention that like, these guys are going to be fighting for the top. Starlight and Spider didn't have as good as a performance last time. So Asia Overdrive is trying to come off the back of coming 5th place, trying to get themselves a solid start. And against Voby, who are the champions, I don't know how this is going to go.
If you saw it down the bottom of that screen there, this is still the 2508 Cup, so give it up for Gaming Boy 2508, one of the legends of the scene, as the guys come in to their first corner.
Into the first corner, and Kuda makes an early mistake. Spark makes an early mistake. That's a warm-up. We forgot about the warm-up. That's beautiful. But as we do say, 2508 Cup in memory of Gaming Boy 2508, one of the legends here in the Apac community, unfortunately passed a few weeks ago. And this is the way that we're showing our memorial here in the Trackmania World Tour. With the cars, you can see Spark right now running the GMB tag. You also see Kuda there running GMB as a sign of memorial for Gaming Boy. And as we get started, we do have Kuda taking an early lead, showing what GMB should be doing in this match. It seems like a pretty close fight. Who do you think is going to take this one out?
Voby definitely would be my pick on this one, probably by a little margin as well. I just think that they are one of the more consistent teams in the region, certainly not infallible, and they might not even be my pick for the end of the day, but certainly for this matchup, I think Asia Overdrive is going to have a lot on their hands.
I think that is the case in this regard. Keeping in mind Kuda and Spark, I was excited about them last time.
The snipe.
Oh, will it be? Oh, Starlight had a brutal crash. It's still going to be a victory for Voby, but Voby were literally the champions last time. They went their way through, got into the final, 4-0'd the final just to assert their dominance straight out of the gate. I think Asia Overdrive is going to have a lot of climbing to do, but getting a point to start out with on Voby is not a bad start for them, but my money has to be on Kuda and Spark, some of the best we've seen here in the Apac region. So go on, Voby. Let's see you get a dub here.
Yeah, Asia Overdrive, super important that they did see that error come out from Voby at the end there, just to make sure it wasn't the ace, which would be a significant lead this early. Kuda, a little bit of a mistake there as well, is going to drop to the back of the pack, but it's still fairly tightly packed here as well, as Spark leads it up.
Spark leading the front is not surprising. He is very good on this map. Dare I say this is probably his best map. He's so comfortable on ice, but Spider isn't letting him get away with it. As you see, he's making a move, and Spider actually moves to first place here just before the identity. Coles comes down to this identity. Will Spark be able to hold it over Spider? And that mistake is chronic. That's going to be awful. Starlight's able to overtake with speed, and that's going to be an ace for Asia Overdrive. That's going to put him 2 points ahead straight out of the gate.
Yeah, fantastic stuff for Asia Overdrive. Just as we were talking about the fact that Voby really has this track settled into their skill set, it becomes an issue immediately. But I do agree. I think Voby picked this map for a good reason here. They should be able to play their own game here and really lead this up. They're going to force a lot of those snipe attempts from Asia Overdrive. I don't think we're going to see people safe this anywhere near as much as we would normally, because it's going to be very tight finishes.
It is going to be very tight finishes, but what does not help them is the fact of early mistakes. You saw during warm-up, Spark had an early mistake. Yeah, that's the warm-up. You can make a mistake there. It's fine. But Kuda just messed up the start there, and that's going to allow Asia Overdrive to move themselves into first. Spider with a small mistake there. Spark trying to deny Asia Overdrive getting a victory here by making it a tie. Kuda comes in out of nowhere, seemingly, and overtakes Spider at the back of the pack. Starlight's just got to hold himself steady at the front, and it's going to be a tie. Still in Asia Overdrive's favor, but this identity has divided the pack. We've seen it before. As we do head into it, Starlight still in the front, a bit slower. Spark's able to overtake Spiders into the wall, and it's going to be a victory for Voby, an instant flip, and this map seems to be doing that.
Yeah, it's what we want to see from Voby as well as they pick their way into this. They're actually trailing by 1, though, as Asia Overdrive picked up that big win just a moment ago. I think one section of this map that may be overlooked by a lot of the players, and even us as well, is that little flick back into the dirt section towards the end of this map. The ice section has so much focus put into it that it is ignored a little bit how much pace you can lose off of getting that flick wrong.
That flick seems to be a determining factor from the fact that, you know, you might have the ice all cleanly, but if you don't get that dirt flick at the end, you've lost all your speed that you've gained on the ice, and it allows easy overtakes. And it's such a small mechanic that a lot of people don't realize that ice and dirt have this weird, like, mechanic where if you get icy tires and go onto dirt, you lose a little bit of grip, but the dirt actually allows you to re-grab your grip and flick yourself forward. It's used in a couple of maps, but it's such an obscure mechanic that it's not really talked about, as we do have the ending here with Spark and Starlight. Spark goes wide. That's going to be another tie. Asia Overdrive still 1 point ahead. That's not a good sign for Voby.
Yeah, Spark so close to actually making that a win there for Voby as well. And they are consistently being able to get out ahead of this pack as well, but as long as there are ties coming through here, these draws are going to take them through the end in a losing fashion if they're not careful.
It's one of those things that we have both called Voby, saying that they are the strong competitors here. But on this first map, they aren't going as strongly as you would have thought. Like, I would have thought Voby would have had an ace or two in their sleeves straight out of the gate. Asia Overdrive's keeping up and putting pace on there 1 second, and that's a mistake from Kuda. It's now a fight up the top between Spark and Spider. Starlight able to overtake. Asia Overdrive seem to have their composure on this map, which is surprising from these guys.
And with Kuda way back now, it's up to Spark to force yet another draw here to just keep them in this fight a little longer, of course. With that 1 point going over to Asia Overdrive no matter what here, you've got to expect that... Oh, there it is. Coming through, and Kuda catches up as well. Does make it a victory for Voby. Exactly what they needed. Both teams within position to take this with an ace.
That was actually a really good move there from Kuda. We did see an early mistake, and he was at the back of the pack. But with that overtaken, such a clean gyroscope finish, he didn't actually spin. He did the sideways strat, and that allowed him to get that victory, which was crucial for Voby. Spark also had a really clean sideways slide if you watched. It was something of majesty, just like a purest art form of hitting it sideways. Like, I don't know what else to say about that. It was just clean.
Yeah, and you do lose that run entirely if you mess that up. If you don't go for the full gyroscopic finish, the safer way to do it, you try for that extra speed. If you don't get that perfect, you're in trouble. Kuda right now in no trouble at all as he nails this ice section, looking for that little flick back in. Gets it so well, actually. Loses almost no grip at all, and now transferring into the identity.
The identity's going to be good for him, as we do have all three players here. Starlight's a bit further back.
Kuda.
Doesn't matter. Spark's just going to go to the front, get himself first place. Kuda's still going to get the victory out of this one. And that's going to be 1 point ahead for them. Will they be able to take out this map? Or will Asia Overdrive force them potentially into an overtime?
Interesting to see the player in front making the risk there. I thought he would go for the safer ending on that one, but they do get the victory nonetheless, which means the map victory is only one away from Voby, but it's anybody's game. Asia Overdrive just need to win here as well.
If Asia Overdrive win, we're going into overtime.
We go overtime.
If they go to ace, we may see Asia Overdrive just take out this map after this strong fight. And that's not going to be a good sign for Voby heading into map 2 if Asia Overdrive can ace them at the end of this map. You know, they're going to be trying as hard as possible to keep that first position. And with a mistake like that from Kuda, that's pushing him further back, and it may go to a draw. But we might see if Spider can actually push his way forward and overtake Spark as we come towards that dirt section. Spark gets the better flick, but Spider's able to recover it. They both lose a bit of speed. It's basically even. As we move into the identity, it all comes down to that sideways turn. It's going to be Spark going for the sideways. Spider goes for the spin, and he's out. Kuda messes it up. Starlight messes it up. Doesn't matter. There you go, Kuda. That's the ace, and that's got to be 12-8 in Voby's favor. First map in their tool belt.
Yeah, and almost sacrificed there from that early mistake from Kuda. Spark and Kuda both knew that they needed to take that one out for the win, and they were cutting their lines so fine that there was a very small error, to be fair, but Kuda cost him, and he makes his way through at the end for the ace to finish in not just a win, but quite some fashion.
That was quite a good run from them. They knew what was at stake there. They couldn't afford to let them get a victory or an ace there. So they had to come through, and they did. As we move into Flip of Faith, everything could change. This map is a huge coin toss, as we discovered earlier today.
Yeah, we discovered it personally as ran it through earlier in the day, but now we are ready for this, right? We know this inside and out. We know all of the spots that you can hit the edges intimately.
Oh, I would like to say that I didn't hit the edge that much. There's a difference between missing the jump and hitting the edge, and for me it was just a lot of missing, but hopefully we'll see some one-shots from these guys as we do head into the jump. This is Asia Overdrive's pick, but Spark and Kuda seem to be holding the front of the pack right now. Starlight and Spider trying to catch up over this. Beautiful transition from three of them. One of them took it a bit high. And that's where you see the close between Kuda and Spark. Starlight trying to catch up and deny them this ace as we do head into the black platform drift. It's going to be Spark actually moving ahead of Kuda there. Starlight got some pace on Kuda, able to push his way forward, but will it be enough? We will have to see. Spark getting the slow line there is not going to be handy to hold their lead. As Starlight is full risking, Spider is at the back of a little bit. Where is Spider? Spider's trying to catch his way up.
Spider has just actually wiped out completely. He's got a long time to catch up here. This is guaranteeing a win here for Kuda and Spark. And it will be an ace at that as well. Starlight following up not far behind. And Spider will at least be able to finish the map.
Watching those two together is, as I've said before, synchronized swimming. You've got Spark and Kuda, 77 milliseconds separating them. Both of them hit the flip cleanly, hit the low line, able to get through. Those two just have that synergy and the communication where they can just be so in sync and allow themselves to get those aces where it's important. And that's a good ace to start them out on this map.
Here comes Spark and Kuda again.
Oh no!
Fronting up, no. Looking like some big errors here as Starlight and Spider both have to reset. Near guaranteed thing for Voby now. They can take safe lines as 10 seconds is the gap between the front two and the back.
It's not necessarily a good thing for AO to see that both of the Voby players are so consistent on that transition. That transition looks pretty simple, but in execution, it is so hard to try and get a low line. So to see both of them hit it first try and go ahead, we're looking at a 10-second margin. There is no way they can catch up as long as Kuda hits this clean. And he does. He's able to catch up a bit to Spark. Yet another ace for Voby, and they had no stress on this.
Yeah, I mean, you say it looks easy, and it can at times, but the difference between a time of a good low transition in that first jump and a high transition is full seconds in this. It is not something you can just save because it costs you too much time to do so.
Indeed, but at the same time, if you know that you're ahead like Voby is now, you know you can take those high lines as long as Asia Overdrive make the mistakes they've been making for the past few rounds. You can basically take that high transition, guarantee yourself onto the platform, but Asia Overdrive has to try and take those low lines. They've got to try and catch up to Spark and Kuda. Starlight showing that that's not what you need to do, running into the wall. It does appear Kuda has made it cleanly as well, but Spider's the only one that can deny yet another ace. It is entire seconds, you are not wrong. But it's also the difference of, do you want to risk it to hell and potentially not be able to catch up? Or do you want to take it safe and maybe have a fight in this?
I mean, yeah, being 3 seconds behind as opposed to 8, 9, 10 seconds. Looks like Starlight continuing to make errors here. Yeah, still stuck back at the beginning of the track, but everybody else forging ahead still. A good transition here could make the difference, and it just might for Kuda. That's going to be another ace found for Voby.
That is 3 aces in a row. Will we see the mythical 12-0? We will have to see, but Starlight has got to be fuming on that. Unable to hit the start, and that could have costed them big time. If Starlight hit the start, maybe there would have been a fight, but that is just GG for them. One more tie for Voby even, and we move on to the next map. They'll be up 2-0 in the series. Spark and Kuda have got to be pretty happy right now.
Yeah, especially since Voby did not pick this map. This was Asia Overdrive's map pick.
True. That's a mistake early there from Spider. It appears that Starlight is going to be hanging out with them. Spider's trying to catch up, and Starlight is just making his way through. Spark gets a little clip, but that's not going to matter. Starlight is able to keep more speed out of it. This is the fight up the top that we're talking about. Spark and Spider are going to be... Spark and Starlight. Spider's a little bit back, but he's catching up.
Yeah.
Starlight is going to be dueling it.
Definitely are the duel here going on, and Starlight is losing time consistently through this. He's going to have to make a good sector here. No! Wipes out through the grass sector. We've seen this be an issue. He's going to do it twice. No, that's going to cost Asia Overdrive. Once again, near guaranteed thing for Voby as long as they make the transition. Kuda doesn't seem to mess this up. He safes it as well because he knows he has the time to spare. And it is a 10-second gap back to the rest of the pack, which is Spider and Starlight. It is Asia Overdrive, and it is going to cost them the map.
They're going to have to go to Bunnings, buy themselves a broom, because they have swept this map 12-0, cleaning up with 4 aces in a row, and that's 2 map wins to them. that is looking handy for them.
It is indeed. Voby just looking so strong right now. I mean, they are I believe they were runners-up last time as well, so they've always been this kind of strong team, and looking like they are going to be again.
Asia
today.
Overdrive actually ended up, I believe, 5th, if I'm not mistaken. 5 to 8, basically. They were unable to make that top 4, and they're going against the former, the current regional champions. It's scary for them. They're like, we've finally made it to the top 4. Exciting stuff. Oh no, we've got to verse the champs. And that's not a good sign.
I was talking about Voby.
Oh, yeah, no, they're champions. They
yes, previous champs, yes.
Yeah,
so,
big dogs.
My bad. Yeah, Voby have been consistently champs through here as well, so looking for somebody to take the throne from them, but judging by the first 2 maps, it might not be Asia Overdrive. They just barely have enough time left in this best of 7 to make that difference, but now they have to fight from a rear position. Coming through the ice section, we are seeing good consistent lines there from at least 3 of the players. Spider is trailing, but not by much either. This transition's clean from everybody, but Spider nails it, gains a little time, and immediately loses it again.
That's definitely not a good back and forth. He needs to make sure he can push his way forward to try and close that gap for any chance of fight forward. And mistake from Spark is the gap he's looking for, as Kuda is the only one that can deny them this ace as we get through the transitions. Kuda does hit it cleanly. Spider goes low. That's a mistake from Starlight. That's going to be Spark able to potentially overtake, and that's going to be a victory for Voby. Asia Overdrive could have had that tie, and I did make a mistake. AO was actually 4th. They did make top 4, so they made top 4 again, and that's a great sign.
Right. Well, Voby is still continuing to be looking like those champions again to the 4th place. Asia Overdrive in position to be 4th once again here. They can't pick up the pace, and they are behind right off the start as well, that pace being so important.
That pace at the start is going to be crucial, because as long as you can hold it close and not lose your speed like Spark did, it's going to be handy to push forward. Spider moving from the back of the pack 2 seconds. Spark trying to recover here. We've got Starlight in that 3rd position. You can see them all pretty... Oh, that's a mistake from Starlight, but he's able to land it, and it is better than fully crashing out. Spider is now in the fight with Kuda at that front position. Kuda seems to be comfortable.
Yeah, Spider
never mind.
Catch him though. There goes Kuda on the dirt ramp. The caster's curse comes through again.
Oh no!
You really want to see Asia Overdrive do well, don't you?
I'm sorry.
And they are. They're going to do very well. That's the chance for the A's. Starlight is going to make his way through in 3rd though. After a small mistake himself, Kuda is able to at least negate a bit of damage there. But it goes to 3-3. Asia Overdrive fighting back.
Look, I should just walk away. I should just drop the headset, walk away. I need to stop casting and be like, oh yeah, they're going to win. No, they're not going to win.
That's the wrong kind of mic drop.
All the players are going to finish the map first try. Nothing's going to go wrong.
Oh no, now we're in for some entertainment.
That's where it goes now.
Let's see who makes the mistake first, I guess. All thanks to our caster, Edamame, the Bean Man himself.
the Bean Boy, apparently.
Bean Boy, that's
Bean Boy. Bean Man works. I will accept Bean Man, but it's definitely Bean Boy, as we do have this transition. All the players are keeping pretty close together on this round. As I said, no mistakes. Everything's going perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing to complain about. They're going to hit this dirt, outside dirt. Kudo scrapes. There we go. There's one. Spark makes it and overtakes. Actually moves to the front of the pack there. Starlight makes a mistake. Spider's the only one who can deny it at this point. But Spark's too clean through this again. There we go. And that's going to be Starlight failing again. Kuda in 3rd. Starlight's got to recover this, but it's not looking like he's going to finish. 1 point lead for Voby once again.
At 0.46 of a second between Spark and Spider there. Spider actually tried to go for the straight line strat at the finish line there to get the snipe, but he didn't have the speed in him when he hit the ground, so wasn't able to make up that time. Of course, it could have been worse for him.
It could have been worse. It could have been that he failed the start and maybe jumped to the left and missed the platform.
Way off the map.
Yeah, but at least he hit the start. We do have Kuda and Spark currently 1st and 2nd right now. I just noticed they're not actually rocking the Voby cars right now. They're rocking 2 different skins, and you don't have the yellow and black. I wonder what's going on with that.
I'm seeing yellow and black on both of them. On both Spark and Kuda right now, so maybe an issue on your own end here.
Yeah,
Kuda-
maybe
Kuda
had to
actually
pause
looks-
quickly and fix that.
Yeah, I think it's borrowed a skin from our earlier games, actually.
Yeah, potentially. That's what I'm thinking. But at the same time, we do have a mistake from Spider there. Starlight makes a mistake. Sparks made a mistake and now having to recover. It's that dirt. It's the dirt quarter that screws everything up.
Kuda coming in first place now with Spider trying to follow this up, but Spark gets in first and it will be an ace for Voby.
2 points off, and that's what they're looking for. If they can shut this out 4-0, they're going to have a good time in the finals. Keep in mind, we do have the other match coming later, which is Dynasty and Ferox, which I am hoping is going to be an awesome fight between that duo.
I think it should be. Both teams have proven to be very, very consistent. I do see some slight issues from time to time from Ferox, but their peak performance is so good that it cannot matter. They can fight through on their good rounds.
I mean, it's what to expect, especially from this level of competition, you know? A mistake is chronic, but it's mainly stress that does it, or like anxiety or nerves, not necessarily the players themselves. They know the maps well, and they've got the peak pace for it. And Dynasty had the same issues. They had a couple of maps where they weren't performing at their best, but moving into this next round, we should be seeing some clean performances from these guys, and hopefully some great gameplay, as we do have 1 and 2 right now. Voby trying to shut off this map as we do get into the identity. It's going to be Spark there, Kuda there, Starlight in third. Doesn't matter. Voby is going to get that ace, and we are moving to map 4.
And a fantastic finish from Spark. 56.4 out in the final round is up there for the paces we've seen completing this map today. And that is just the way you want to take it out.
Exactly. That's a handy victory for them. It's going to be 3-0. And as they move into map 4, it does appear we are going to be on Agility Dash. Agility Dash, one of those really good maps that, you know, you see the good pace from these players, and it all comes down to that identity. Kuda did a 56-3 in that last round as well. So probably a good sign for them. And that will be a great moment.
Yeah, consistently very, very high times, and finishing off so strong there. Just gives a little bit of fear to their opponents coming into the next one as well. Very fast warm-up as well. Looking like they have consistency through the early section. It is a tough early section, this.
Yeah, it didn't work at all for trying to fix the skin. So we do have the lovely green and blue with Asia Overdrive in their red there. So it does make it easy to identify who is who. But it sucks because the yellow and black skin is just so clean.
Yeah,
and we appreciate...
I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, no, you guys are missing out.
I'm sorry, chat. We did try it and it has not worked. We are looking at some beautiful country skins though. But as we do at the start of this map, Kuda and Spark, 1 and 2 right now. I mean, they're looking handy on this map. It's their map. No, wait, it's Asia Overdrive's pick.
Sorry, yeah, this was fourth map, so Asia Overdrive's pick, correct.
Yeah.
And coming through in the fast section now, well ahead, Starlight a full second behind. It's going to be a tough one to catch up. Maybe something to be found in the Agility Dash identity, but this is so consistent out of Kuda, and Spark is not far behind.
Yeah, Kuda is just ahead of the pack and having a great time. He's just driving like a Sunday drive, radio blaring, and Spark is trying to catch up to him to make it an even fight. And with that, all the players are within 1.5 seconds of each other. You can see them all on screen. So this is a great sign for them as they move into the identity, because it's going to come down to that one mistake. But looking at it, Kuda makes a mistake first. Spark's going to catch up, and that's going to be a spider snipe. 68 milliseconds. Starlight's down. Kuda's recovered this, and he will be getting that third position, and that's going to be a tie for these guys. But Spider with the snipe. That's what you're looking for.
Voby was in position to ace that as well, so Spider coming through is so crucial there as well. That snipe, meaning just about everything to the start of this map. You really want to get yourself in a good position for that mental state of this game. Like you said, there's so many mistakes being made in a game that is about the macro play, and you see those mistakes made there. Spark going to be sent way back here, but yeah, it does come down to being able to handle those nerves. It does come down to you as a player. You've got to have the mental side of your game covered as well as the physical mechanics.
It is definitely one of those things on this map where, you know, you can have the rest of the map clean. You could be taking it at full speed, no dramas. Get to the identity and, make a mistake halfway through, Kuda. Prove my point wrong. But get to the identity and one mistake and you've costed yourself a potential ace. As we see, Asia Overdrive is now fighting at the front with Kuda right there trying to catch up. It's looking good for AO right now, but Kuda could deny this.
Bizarre mistake from Kuda there as well. Actually a hard mistake to make, and coming through.
Oh.
You've got to be disappointed that you're chasing up right now, but he does have the skills to do it. It's going to come down once again to the identity here, as it does most of the time on Agility Dash. It is such a hard ending to a decent length track. Now Kuda chasing through, has nailed it, looking for a mistake, but there's none to be found. Asia Overdrive take out the ace.
That's exactly what Asia Overdrive are looking for. Moving up 4-1 in the series potentially gives them that fight to deny Voby from this map and force it into more maps. But Spark making a mistake early on is brutal as it comes into the finish backwards. You could see Kuda was trying to keep the pace there, and he did have that clip near the end where he hit the side of the road. That was enough to slow him down for AO to just waltz in and get their ace. Let's just hope it doesn't happen again.
Most of the players seem fairly consistent through the midsection of this track, so a mistake like that is going to let your opponents pass. The chance for an ace goes dramatically through the roof with a single mistake through the midsection. It just comes down once again after that point to the identity, and looks like, as proved just then, Asia Overdrive can do that identity with some really good consistency.
It's one of the harder identities in the pack. The fact that you have like high speed plastic and everything like that. But the rest of the map shouldn't be discarded as well. You've got some high speed sections, some tight drift, the knife edge in the middle, which can screw you up if you don't take low lines. It literally comes down to having that consistency through the rest of the map to pray that you can hit the identity at the end. It's not a forgiving map, and we've seen that with players failing before the end, losing to a mistake, and then just hitting the identity at the end. It's the nature of this map, I'd say.
Coming through that knife edge now, this Ridge has taken some souls, but they will be left unclaimed. Oh, a big hit from Starlight is going to put him well back, and Kuda looks to not have made the mistake, so that is going to be great for Kuda, but no, Spider snipes the position as Spark falls well back. Can restart at that closer checkpoint though, and Spark is going to be able to take out third place. A draw comes through.
Spark was going to be handy on that one, but that crash at the end was brutal. It meant Starlight could waltz through and make that a tie as opposed to a victory. It still denies the points, but it's not as good of a position for Voby. They know they've got to get those aces. They've got to get those victories, because give Asia Overdrive room to play with. They're going to take every second and make the most of it.
They're looking for it again, but it's Spark and Kuda up the front right this second. A tight pack now, as well as Spider makes his way into it. Halfway through Kuda right now and not able to make the move he needs to. It's a shuffling, but barely. That's a good move from Spider, though. Gets the line perfectly onto the plastic there and loses no momentum. And gets that slide perfect into the super booster all the way to the end.
That was a brutal mistake from Kuda as well. He tried to get as close to that line as possible, drifting as close as possible, but ended up clipping his wheel off the side. And that was enough to slow him down for Spider to just go for a run. And Spider makes a mistake, clipping the side of the checkpoint. It means that Spark's able to move to the front. Kuda's caught his way up. Starlight's actually in the fight as well. It is a close race right now. And Spark makes another mistake, straight into the wall. And that's going to cost him. Kuda's able to waltz to the front. Spider and Starlight in hot pursuit, trying to deny a tie and make it a victory as we hit the identity. Kuda is currently in the pack, hits it cleanly. Spider is in close pursuit. He's not going to overtake, but he is going to finish. Starlight makes a mistake, and Spark doesn't seem to be there. Maybe he made a mistake as well?
Spark, yeah, sitting well back with low speed, is going to come out in fourth, which does mean it's yet another tie here. Spark is choosing to go in backwards.
Oh, he doesn't finish! He doesn't finish because he was trolling!
Feels bad.
Oh, God.
That's got to affect you going to the next round. You must you've just made yourself look like the fool. You gotta prove it now. Come back into this. That's a hilarious
He's
mistake.
just like, blast, I gotta finish it backwards. Never mind, I hit the finish and I'm unable to
laugh
finish.
that off. You've got to. You've got to.
Oh, Rezier is gonna go to him later and just be like, what was that, man? You gotta finish. Oh, God. But Spark's gonna be trying to recover in this round to make sure he can clean up that lovely moment. Currently in second position with Spider there in the fight as well. Starlight a little bit behind, but that margin. Kuda makes a mistake, and that's going to be Spark moving to the front. Spark is the only one who can deny the ace right now, so we've got to pray that Spark hits this all cleanly.
Kuda held well back by that hit on the pylon there. Now Spark leading up. Spider not far behind though, going through this tight section. The slow turns and the early drifts can really make up a lot of time. Spider has been good in the past. Can he make the pass here? Does not look like it. Spark holding his speed. A small mistake going into the grass section, but a good amount of speed still held for the identity. Looks to be nailing it here as well. A very tight line held and a very good finish from Spark.
That's what he was looking for. Another mistake from Spider and Starlight, and that's an ace for Voby.
Oh my goodness.
Putting them back on level pegging, 6-6. They could still take this out thanks to that ace.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of miracle ace comes through time and again in Agility Dash just because of how tough that finishing identity is. The back and forth, it looks easy enough on stream. It's just a jump and then turn back the other way, right? Like, no. It is so tough a line. You have to be turning back towards the downside off of that first jump without cutting it too fine to not make the jump at all. If you aren't already turned, there's no way to make it back.
It's one of the beauties that is these identities for these mats, you know. These identities are built by the community, and basically when we pick the winners for this competition, the mappers built the map with this in mind. So we have these like fun, flowy maps with tight tech, you know, these full speed elements, and the ending is a tight, full speed element. It just happens to look easy, but when you actually play it, it's an absolute nightmare.
It might be full speed in the holding accelerate, but that plastics, it can slow you down so much that you don't make the second jump as well. It does look like it's easy after the first part of it as well. It's not the case. So many jagged edges to catch on. You've seen these players catch on them before, wipe out completely and annihilate a run. Even after the toughest part of the identity, it's still no walk in the park. Kuda gets an awesome little lip over the knife edge to give him an advantage into this. Might have just held on barely to an ace here. Does look to be the case as well, as both players make their way through in an awesome way for a great ace here. Voby goes forward.
That's going to be 9-6 in Voby's favor. It's basically GG at this point. All they have to do is tie, and they will be moving forward into the grand final once again. Asia Overdrive's got to be sweating, knowing they literally have to get 2 aces to make sure that they can hold their position. But you could see with Kuda's line there, he caught up by he was 0.4 off Spark from the pace that he had after the knife edge. Kuda's one of those players whose skill is basically unrivaled when it comes to catch-ups.
Really nice to see a round where it didn't come down to the identity as well, because it was the speed that was gained out of line leading up to it that really got Kuda that finishing pace that he needed to get that win. He was just milliseconds behind his opponents there, and Asia Overdrive would have cost them a point there and kept Asia Overdrive not only in it but also one ace away from a win. And now Asia Overdrive need an ace and more to win this.
Exactly, and with that, it is Spark and Kuda up the front right now. Spider's the only person who could deny this. Kuda makes a chronic mistake, and that's going to be him pushed back. Spark just has to hold this steady. It doesn't matter where Kuda comes. As long as Spark can one-shot the ending, Voby will be moving to the grand finals. And that's a mistake from Starlight in the corner of my eye. He hits the CP and he's going flying. It comes down to his identity. Will Spark be overtaken by Spider? We do head in. Spider's making the moves. He's got the more speed on it. Heading into the identity. Oh, that's a mistake. Spark gets through cleanly, and that's going to be enough. Voby are moving to the grand finals.
In fact, not only that, hear the horn go off. Kudo with the screams as he goes through the finish line, and it's going to be a full ace. The mistake there at the end. Spider is going to play out the last of the seconds at the bottom of the map there in the half pipe. But Voby, they do it in style.
That was a good match there, going from 4-1 behind, moving themselves into a winning position is going to be very advantageous for them. They knew that they could lose the map and they'd be fine moving on to the next map. But this was Asia Overdrive's pick. They come into their map and go, you are not having this, and take it away from them, getting themselves a solid 4-0 victory, moving themselves into the grand final with the winner of Dynasty versus Ferox. And that's a match we're going to be seeing soon. I am so keen to see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, it is a shame that Asia Overdrive weren't able to take that map when it was their map pick. Considering that, though, they actually did fairly well over Voby's pick because their only other map pick, they got 12-0'd on. They got perfect swept on their first map pick as well. So Asia Overdrive doing very well to get their 4th position again, 2nd time in a row, but they still got work to do to catch the reigning champs, Voby.
Keep in mind, they are going to be getting a fair amount of points for this one there. I believe they get 3 points, if I'm not mistaken. And that's still handy. That's 3 points compared to the players who get 1 and 2 for getting, top 5 to 11. That's 3 points that helps you in your campaign to potentially climb higher. But Voby get a minimum of 5. They're going to be walking forward out of this with a minimum of 12 points and a maximum of 14 points, plus whatever's in matchmaking. That's a really good start for these guys in the campaign, knowing this is regional 2 out of 3.
Yeah, a huge start for Voby and a really, really good way to take it out. Very big efforts and a complete sweep in our first match, but we've got more matches coming up, don't we, Adamame?
We do. We have Ferox and Dynasty coming next, and once again, that winner will be moving forward to the grand final. Once again, another 5 points on offer there. So stick around, folks. Grab yourself some water, maybe go and have a bathroom break, and we'll be back with the Trackmania Apac Regional 2 Finals Day, also known as the 2508 Cup. And we are back with the Trackmania World Tour Apac Regionals 2 Finals Day, also known as the 2508 Cup. Ferox versus Dynasty.
Ferox versus Dynasty indeed. This is probably the matchup that we could have even seen at our grand final. These two teams match up so well. Voby is waiting up front for one of these teams to come through, but who it's going to be is anybody's guess. This is going to be awesome.
It's going to be an excellent match there. Obviously, Ferox having the brand new duo to the APAC Regionals with Planetary Goose and Sved coming in out of nowhere, and currently they're going to be leaving with a minimum of 3 points, which is rather impressive for them. If they win, they're going to be shaking up the leaderboards, moving into 5 points there, just below Dynasty, who would have 8 points thanks to the previous regional. Voby way out in front. They've got at least 12 to 14. But we're looking at someone to come in out of nowhere, straight up to the top of the leaderboards and have that stronger fight for those top positions. Keep in mind, matchmaking is something to account for in future tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely. And that matchmaking is so important. I think actually going into this, one of the most crucial things between these two teams is going to be map picks as well. When you have two teams that are matched as well, you've got to play on the tracks that benefit you. Going into this, making my own pick is going to be very, very tough. I'm leaning towards Dynasty here. I think that Dynasty has the better consistency, but Ferox will probably actually turn up with the faster times. So we're going to see more aces maybe or the potential for more aces out of Ferox, but we're going to see consistent wins from Dynasty, in my opinion.
See, I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to sit on the fence. I cannot definitively say, oh yeah, Dynasty is going to win, or oh, Ferox is going to win. We have a basically toss-up between these guys. We've got the previous runner-ups who we've seen great performances from, and they've got that consistency. But then we've got Planetary Goose and Sved, who are coming in out of nowhere, and as you can see, we've just had the pick ban even before we finished talking about it. I can't say. I'm going to be on the fence.
Well, we're seeing Slippy Slides in freestyle again is out, actually banned this time. Flip of Faith, the only one unpicked and unbanned. We're going to see Gyroscope, Parkour, Slowdown, Aero Pipes, Reps, Slippy Slides, and back and forth, and Slippy Slides is up first.
Oh, Slippy Slides. We all know and love it. We've been playing it before. It's such a fun map. Interestingly, yeah, freestyle got banned again. We're not seeing freestyle today. Agility Dash also getting a ban. We do have quite a few interesting maps coming up in that selection. And I think it is just going to come down to consistency more than anything. You know, Ferox coming in out of nowhere, making their way into the top 4 is a shocker for the community because we knew they're good, but we didn't realize they were going to be this good straight out of the gate. But Dynasty, we've seen them runner up.
And Ferox has guaranteed themselves a top 4 position here, and they looked pretty good getting to this point. I don't doubt that they've got a lot of fight in them for this.
I am excited to see how this goes, but as you can see, Ferox with Svet and Planetary Goose, and Dynasty with Kimmy and Pixels. Two wonderful orgs here. This is going to be a strong fight. Both new orgs into the scene. Like, we've had a lot of new orgs come. We had Antic. We've got, obviously, Ferox and Dynasty here. This is the two like, new orgs that we've got going one-on-one. So this will be org v org. Who's going to win? We'll see.
All 4 players started playing in 2021 or 2022. So early starts for these guys into an esports career here, and looking good doing it, particularly Dynasty having that consistency already is surprising. You do see the newer players sometimes coming through with that speed, that peak performance like Ferox tends to have. It's really going to be a battle of 2 playstyles here.
Indeed. And as we do get started, we have Kimmy and Pixels right now at the front. Planetary Goose in hot pursuit, trying to deny that. And the skins have loaded, so now I can see the beautiful designs we have here. Both wonderful skins made by a legendary creator in our Asia and Oceanic community. So we get to see not only legendary players, but a legendary skin with Planetary Goose holding the front of the pack. Kimmy in hot pursuit trying to deny him this victory. He gets the clean slide onto the reactor, but Planetary Goose has more speed, goes a little bit wider. Sved is currently in that 3rd position. Goose makes his way forward. He's currently in 1st. All comes down to this identity as we hit the boosters. He makes slide 1, gets around it cleanly. Kimmy's in hot pursuit, trying to deny that. Goose makes a mistake, and that's going to cost him.
Too wide. He's found the sign there and has to go all the way to the back. Speed as well has made the mistake. Both of them coming through 3rd and 4th, which means Dynasty come up 3-0. There it is again. There's that consistency out of Dynasty.
That's one of the reasons that Dynasty could be seen as the winners as well. But we cannot discount Sved and Planetary Goose still putting up strong performances. Goose was leading until the end, and it came down to him not hitting a slide. So I don't think we're going to see a lot more aces in this match. Keep in mind, though, Pixels is brilliant at this identity. This is one of the identities he's so strong at. Sved getting an early mistake is not going to be handy for them. But this is one of Pixel's best maps as well. So we're going to be seeing some clean runs from him, and this may help Dynasty's case heading out of the first round.
Last time through the dirt section coming up, Pixels made a large error with a tap on that left-hand side, right as he's passing it about now, actually. Did make that tap, and this time he's going to go through cleanly. They were able to take the win out off of mistakes last time. Can they do it off of the back of pure speed this time? It's looking so. Pixels out in front. Kimmy's going to lose one position, but this is still a victorious position for them to be in. Kimmy makes his way across the top of that water instead of going low, loses a little bit of speed. Planetary Goose in a good position for second place and nails that final corner, that final slide. Kimmy's so close behind, but it's SVD coming in 4th as well, and a win for Dynasty.
0.1 separating the back 3 competitors. Pixels had that much dominance. He was 1.2 seconds ahead, and then the rest were all right after one another. Yeah. It could have been anyone's game, and it could have been a total coin toss, but Pixels is just showing his dominance on this map straight out of the gate. 5-1 in the first map is a good sign. I'm pretty sure this was Ferox's pick, so they are 5-1 on Ferox's pick, and that's not good.
I mean, it's very good for Dynasty. Planetary Goose now way up ahead. Mistake made by Pixels. Probably the player I would have called out as the most consistent here. Looks like Kimmy falling behind now as well, and quite some pace up the front from Planetary Goose. Speed a little way behind, but still a huge gap from him back to Pixels.
That's not good for those two. Those guys need to try and hold their lead. Sved goes a bit wide. I think he was going for the wide setup, but that's fine. Goose is up the front, currently in the lead. Let's see him hit this identity. He gets through the engine off, straight into the water. He gets that little bit of a slide, able to straighten himself out, clean into the slide. That's how you do it. Straight into number 2. No dramas at all. He's going to walk away with a comfy 109. Sved in second, making sure it's an ace. Kimmy about to hit the identity. Pixels in that 3rd position, trying to make up for that, and he hits it. Will Kimmy be able to finish? He should get this cleanly. That's still an ace on Ferox's favor.
Yeah, some big issues there for Dynasty, trying to chase up behind Kimmy, making another mistake to keep him even further back, but really not much was going to stop Ferox there. They could even make a major mistake, a full crash and reset, and still be ahead there, so an enormous win out front for Dynasty.
Yeah. It does appear we are going to be having a very quick pause due to some internet issues, just to make sure that Kimmy is okay. Kimmy's internet likes to, have some fun sometimes, but we will be resuming soon as long as he is okay. Good start
Kimmy,
from these guys.
Are you okay, Kimmy?
Are you okay, Kimmy? That's what's important. I noticed that chat is talking about the giant Snorlax sitting behind me. I mean, it's a giant Snorlax. What can you ask for, folks?
Come on, if you're seeing a real Snorlax, you think that's giant? No, it's a little Snorlax.
He's a big boy. He's like yay high, and he's just a big ball of fluff. And who doesn't love a good Snorlax? But that is a different game to this. We are talking Trackmania, and all I'm saying is when I go, if I ever compete in the regionals, I want a Snorlax skin.
I don't think there are any Pokemon racing games, so no real conflict of interest there. Kind of want to see that now that I've said it.
Yeah, look, I would love to see Pokemon racing, and they've got little cars that all look like each other. So you've got a little Pikachu driving a little yellow and red car. Oh, that would be sick.
We're going to see what the future of gaming holds for us, but right now, the current of gaming is Dynasty only one ahead, Ferox not far behind now.
Ferox is not that far behind. 1 point separating the two. We're just waiting to see what is happening with Kimmy's internet again. He is having some connection issues, and it is slightly laggy, but, I mean, there's not much we can ask for with Kimmy, you know. Internet's just internet.
Looking for their full 3 minutes here, so we're going to be talking your ears off for a minute while we get these guys in. I know you guys get sick of looking at our beautiful faces, but you're just going to have to put up with it. Edamame is over there looking just chef's kiss.
Mwah. Chef's kiss indeed. Gex wearing the fancy shirt today, can I just add? You know, Gex and I come from professional backgrounds of casting and that, so we're like, oh, it's finals day, gotta dress up nice. And Gex is like, I wonder if I could go and just throw myself in the wardrobe and see what sticks to me. This shirt's stuck to him and he's good.
It is stuck to me. This room is hot. You do not know how realistic that sentence is. It is stuck to me.
It is stuck. But it's always good stuff, especially when you have the casters like wearing some nice clothing. You're not just looking at them in like a singlet and shorts and all that jazz. It's always just like chef's kiss quality.
It's interesting to see where the mistakes are actually being made in this map. The very, very first 2-3 corners can make some real consistency issues. I think Dynasty in particular have been suffering through the mid section of the track, which generally tends to be some of the easiest. Maybe it's just kind of they get comfortable. So Dynasty need to A, get their internet sorted, and B, come in and not let themselves be too comfortable with this.
Exactly, and it's going to be handy for Dynasty if they can pull themselves into that consistent mindset and get themselves to win on this map, but we'll just have to see how the internet issues go, knowing that, you know, Kimmy's got to reconnect and make sure he's not having lag. This could be bad for Dynasty if he's not able to connect again, but hopefully he'll be able to reconnect. Hopefully we'll have a great match on our hands, and hopefully we'll see Dynasty take out this first map. That's what I'm praying for.
Well, it's always nice to see the opposing team take the map. It was Ferox's pick, but Dynasty have been looking fairly good on it so far. Ferox are making a climb back, but it may be somewhat due to those internet issues. We have to see how Kimmy's performance is when he gets back in here.
Hopefully his performance is better than his internet right now, because his internet is suffering, that's for sure. But Planetary Goose and Sved, we've talked a lot about Dynasty and how good they are. Keep in mind, they're the runners-up. They're the current runner-up champs for this. But Ferox Industries come out of nowhere and just made a top 4 and proven themselves as a brilliant New Zealand duo.
Absolutely. They have come out and they are looking so good. And the scary thing is that even though they're here in the top 4, this is still a team of potential. We're not even looking at the results that they're going to get here today. They are so new. We're looking at the results that they might get a year from now. These two players are so fantastic and so new that the potential is just unbelievable.
Being their first regional, because they didn't compete in number 1 because of obviously like them being busy. Coming into Regional 2, they've only had a little bit of time to practice the maps. The maps have been out for a while, but they haven't had the time to put into these maps. So seeing some of the times they're putting out and some of the high levels that we've been seeing from their performances on the maps, we're going, they could keep up with enough practice. It always comes down to, you know, making sure that there's that consistency in the end from these guys. Pace is one thing. Consistency is another. Put them together and you've got a great soup, you know?
Great soup.
Good soup.
It's like that's the bone for the broth, you know?
Yeah, the bone for the broth. But we are back and we are getting started again. 4-5, Ferox Industries, 1 point behind Dynasty as we start the next round. Let's just see how this goes.
Well, first corner looking fairly good for everybody except SVD. Zed has made contact and is going to sit way back.
That's not a good start for Sved. Pixels as well making a mistake at the start. Goose currently in the lead, trying to hold it together for Ferox as we do head through this midsection. The fragile, thanks to the dirt, is brutal. When I was doing runs earlier, I was getting the fragile from just a poor line. It comes down to a good line through that and the water, and Kimmy's going to capitalize on Goose's mistake, moving him forward into that first position. Pixels has a little bit of catch-up to do, but Kimmy seems to be walking away with this right now.
Yeah, you have to have that fantastic drift cancel early to get a good line there. Kimmy just barely clips the booster, nearly went off the edge there. Would have cost him probably the time back to Planetary Goose had he not, but he sits comfortably on top, skims the water now, and looks for the bug slide. Here he comes through for the finish. Planetary Goose still that 2-second gap, and that's going to be a win for Kimmy. Pixels has to make it a win with a finish here, and he's not just going to do that, he is going to make it an ace.
Yeah, if you didn't see, Planetary Goose actually bounced out of the water prior to the identity. He was in the water, made it cleanly, went to the deep point, and just jumped straight out. And that was enough for him to slow down, for Pixels to finally catch up and overtake, making it that ace, 2 points away from taking out the first map in the series. It's looking very nice for Dynasty. Will Ferox be able to recover in the next 2 rounds? We shall see.
Interestingly there, Kimmy with the strat over the water, the skim, I thought at first, when I first saw Kimmy make that, I thought that it was actually a mistake, but maybe a faster line cannot be quite as consistent. You have to come out straight towards the boosters to get that little extra boost of speed, but Kimmy seems to be going for it every run.
It might be the consistent strat, or maybe the strat that he's comfortable with on this map, keeping in mind these players have had a lot of experience on these maps, and they'd be trying to find not only a risky and fast strat, but the safe strat to go with it, and Kimmy's got to capitalize on the fact that he now needs a safe strat to make sure he's still in a race. That jump was brutal for him.
Now Pixels in behind. He's so far behind, he needs the risky strat, actually. Kimmy has no chance of a catch-up without the risk behind it, but what a final corner from Pixels. Planetary Goose follows it up, and it will be a draw coming through. Dynasty only 1 away from winning this map.
This being a Ferox pick as well, this is a good sign for Dynasty. 1 point separating them and their pick, which I'd have to remember what their pick was off the top of my head, but their pick is coming next, and it should be a good map for them, knowing that they've picked it, despite the bans of Agility Dash, and I can't read that. I am too blind to read that. But do you remember what map 2 is?
I was one of the top ones.
Gyroscope?
I cannot remember. Yeah, I think it was actually Gyroscope. Yeah,
I think it was Gyroscope.
Map 2. Coming through here right now, though, there is actually a chance for Ferox, if they can ace here, to carry themselves through for another round at least. And Kimmy getting in between with a mistake from Sved might have just taken that chance away.
That mistake from Sved isn't good, but right now it is looking like a victory in Ferox's favor. That's a mistake from Sved, and that's enough for Pixels to catch up into that 3rd position. As long as Goose can hit the identity cleanly, it's going to be fine, but it's looking like Dynasty's going to be walking away with this map at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Ferox had to ace here. No chance of that now. Kimmy already having finished. Pixels coming through, and Sved looking for a finish on the map at all. Will be able to get there in the long run, but that is first map going to Dynasty against their pick.
10-6 going to Dynasty, and yeah, it was not their pick, so that's not a good sign for them. Moving into the second map, where they're going into the one that Dynasty's chosen, that's going to be hard for them, especially because we're moving to Gyroscope, which, Gyroscope we've seen some good rounds on.
Yeah, Gyroscope has claimed a lot of lives, though, through it as well. Some very fine lines to take, and it really does have to be a very, very fine thing for everybody involved, or they're not going to get the win out.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get the win out. Honestly, I'm just hoping that they get the win out of this. But as we've seen before, Gyroscope has claimed some lives, and it is a brutal ending there. So we've got to pray that they've got the consistency as we get started with the next round. It's looking pretty good for Dynasty right now, knowing that they've beaten Ferox on their own map.
Yeah, absolutely. Dynasty coming into their map pick now should look even stronger. Ferox put up a bit of a fight there, at least to the midway point in that match. After Dynasty got their internet problems under control with Kimmy, though, it did look like a different game entirely. Sved coming up the back does have a little bit of speed here, but will stay there. Coming through, it's Kimmy and Pixels right up the front, looking to ace for Dynasty, and both of them taking very good lines. Planetary Goose able to make a little bit, but that flick is far better than Kimmy's, and that is a big move from Planetary Goose into first place as they come into the identity.
Come on into the identity as they get through. They're all pretty close. Kimmy goes for the sideways strat. Pixels go for the sideways strat. Pixels can't recover it. That's got to be chronic. They could have had the ace, but that's going to be a tie for them instead. 1-1 instead of the 3-0.
I gotta say, I respect the draw on that though, because Kimmy coming through there, it was a bit of a snipe. It was such a tight pack there that you had to have somebody risk it, even if it meant just taking a draw. You guaranteed that Ferox there was not able to take a win, and that's super important.
It's very important for Ferox to try and deny as many aces as possible, being on the back foot. It doesn't necessarily matter if they get the aces. Getting an ace is even better for them, but denying aces from Dynasty is going to put you in a better position moving through the map. But right now, Kimmy and Pixels, number 1 and number 2, there's a bit of a gap then between Sved and Planetary Goose. Less than a second for all 4, but not looking very good for Ferox right now.
Now back to even. We basically restart this map again here, 1 point down, and Planetary Goose coming out the back does get a very good line again. He continually makes speed over his opponents through there. He clipped that corner last time, does make it through, but Kimmy and Pixels are the only ones battling for this ending. Oh my goodness, Kimmy has had a mare through there, goes high into the blocks, and Kimmy is well out of that race.
That is well out for Kimmy, and that's going to be another draw. That's going to be 2-2 there, as we do have the next round for them. That's... they could have had another ace. It seems to be Kimmy's failing the end, and that's not a good sign for them.
But Kimmy continually going for very, very strange strats through that. That time actually did go for the gyroscopic finish, not the sideways strat, but he turned in the wrong way and made it very, very difficult for himself.
It's definitely not the best thing there for Kimmy, knowing that every ace will come down to Pixels finishing cleanly, Planetary Goose and Sved coming in second and third. All Kimmy has to do is beat those two and they've got an ace, but Kimmy's not pulling through, and that's not a good sign for Ferox either. The fact that Sved just made a mistake, that's going to put him behind, but Planetary Goose has a stronger line through that section, catching up to Pixels as we move into the identity. It seems to be a spin from Goose and a sideways line from Pixels.
That is beautiful.
That is art. 57-4. Pixels able to hold it together. That's a victory for Dynasty.
Yeah, yet another chef's kiss. Mwah. Pixels just erasing that final corner with the speed from the sideways strat. Pixels seems able to do that sideways strat consistently enough that you would almost consider just doing it every time rather than going for the gyroscopic.
I mean, knowing that the gyroscope is actually the safe strat, and it looks swaggier as well, the sideways strat should, like, if you can get the sideways strat consistent, I should say, it is a good practice, like, it's a good strat to pull out in rounds, but the spin is so much cooler. Like, you could go for the style points. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to have the time to spare, though, and the rounds have been relatively close. I think it's worth having one of your two players always taking that risky line, as long as you are, you know, not more than seconds ahead. You have to have that gap to be able to both play it safe, I think.
I think that's the best move there, but looking at this round, it is looking very much in Ferox's favor. Both of them have plenty of room through the identity. Kimmy goes for the sideways strat, but it's not going to make a difference. That's an ace for Ferox. They're moving 2 points ahead in this match. That's the first time we've seen them ahead on Gyroscope.
Yeah, that's a very important ace as well. They were 1 behind, now jumping 2 ahead. Ferox looking good against Dynasty on Dynasty's map. The roles are reversed.
It's a good sign for Ferox. Like, if you were a Ferox manager and seeing that overtake, you're going to be getting so hyped knowing that they could still take out this map and put it to an even game. Dynasty's got to be fighting even harder to try and catch up. 2 points separating them, though, and we've seen aces from Dynasty, so could we see another ace, potentially? We shall see.
Oh, Kimmy and Pixels leading up the front right now, just about inside of each other's ghosts. It's going to be Pixels following through as they come through the ice section. A very nice line taken by both cars here, cutting it close to that metal at the end there and getting very, very nice flicks back in as well. They're going to have to continue this through. It's looking like Pixels this time might be facing some internet issues once again. Good 360 through the finish line, but Pixels actually makes contact. He's more consistent with the harder strat.
It's Kimmy, who we've seen have some bad runs on this, just pulled through a great run, able to hold them in that victory. Pixels going for the spin, bonked.
Big bonk.
Big bonk.
Very big bonk. And did cost them an ace as well. Dynasty would have been back in the lead had they gotten it. And Ferox now leading only by 1. They are barely holding this, and they need decent victory for themselves here to pull them through.
The victory for them is going to put them in a better position, but if Ferox can ace this, they're going to move away 1-1 and go into their pick. So hopefully they'll have the upper hand moving forward. We can't say which way it's going to go either way, though, because Dynasty took Ferox's pick, and at this point, Ferox is looking to take Dynasty's pick.
Pixels nearly going wide, does correct the line, but a little slow on it. In saying that, though, that's a huge mistake from the man in front. Kimmy moves back after a terrible transition onto the dirt, and now a huge finish from him, though. Oh, wipes out right at the end, and it's going to be SVDE coming through in first place, Pixels in second, Planetary Goose in third, and Kimmy in fourth, meaning a win for Ferox.
That is going to be 1 point for Ferox. All they need to do is draw, and they will take the map. Dynasty have to ace this, but being in a position where you could ace and win is quite a strong position for them because they can ace. We've seen them ace. All they got to do is pull it together for this final round, and it's GG for them. They move forward 2-0 as we head through the bobsled, who I did call the thing. It is still the thing. We don't acknowledge the bobsled loop. It's a thing. That's a chronic mistake from Sved, though, running into a tree. Not a good sign from him.
Pixels doesn't have a lot of speed moving into the ice section as well. He's going to have to nail it here. Does look like he's got pretty much the perfect line. Now the transition back into that dirt. We talked about how important that is, the amount of speed you can carry through that. Looking like some more internet issues for Kimmy as he goes way back. The stuttering begins. Now Pixels and Kimmy looking both at the sideways strat through the ending. Oh, contact though on the checkpoint nearly costs them it. It's Kimmy and Pixels though. Dynasty getting the ace and taking the map 10-9.
That's the ace I was talking about. We knew they could ace it. They pulled it together for the final round. Were able to ace and move forward 2-0 up in the series onto Ferox's pick. So they're now in a comfortable position heading forward, knowing that they have 2 maps to play with before they have to start stressing.
Very, very close call there as well. That contact on the finish line really, really causing some major concerns for Dynasty at the last moment, because if they didn't ace that, it was all over. Ferox, they get robbed at the last moment by that just skidding through in under the finish line.
That's a good sign for them. But moving into slowdown, one of the maps we haven't seen a lot on. We do appear to be having a pause, I believe, just to sort out internet issues once again. So back to our lovely faces. Yeah, it does appear that Kimmy's Wi-Fi has just died, I guess?
No, he's here. Just took a second for him to load back in, so looking like we are all ready for our first round here. They will be obviously going through their warm-up phase as well.
I mean, that is going to be a nice... that's not going to be another break. Sorry, I should clarify. That break was not good. I was going to say that's not a good sign for them, but we are going back in, and it should be fine. Everything's okay. Everyone can breathe. Breathing is okay.
I'm going to take a very deep breath as we head into this in the first round, and it's looking like Pixels with the best line through the first corner.
Pixels with a good line through the first corner is going to be quite... oh, that's a clip. That's a clip there from Goose. That's going to push him back a little bit. Pixels and Sved currently dueling it out at the top. Sved seems to be taking a stronger line through it. Full acceleration, and he's moving into first place. Pixels now in a catch-up game as we move into the bobsled. Oh, this bobsled is cruel.
It is indeed. We haven't seen this one on stream so much either, so a little less practice for us watching here, but it is a good run here from Pixels in particular, coming through with some pace and very few mistakes. Now into the slowdown section, has to make clean transitions over these humps, and he will get beaten here. It's SVD up the front makes a big error, and Kimmy and Pixels coming through for the ace. It
was going to be Sved, but he did make a mistake, went flying off, and that's going to be an ace for Dynasty. 3-0 up in this series. That might be the third map for them at this point if they can hold it together for these next few rounds.
Now, Dynasty up by 3 points early. A very good look for them, and into Ferox's pick once again as well, I believe. So Ferox now defending their own map will be coming through. Pixels and Kimmy at the back right now. Planetary Goose way up front, leading the pack with good pace on him. Looking for the transition into the bobsled now, coming through nicely and getting that perfectly through onto the plastic as well. Has to slide that well, and now looking to start into the slowdown section after this big hairpin.
That is not good from Kimmy before. Crashed before the reactor segment with the grass, so currently it's Pixels trying to deny them the ace, but as we head through, Sved is going to get a little bit of airtime. It is going to slow him down enough. Planetary Goose seems to be holding it steady, and that's a mistake for Pixels. That's an ace going the other way. Back to 3-all. That's chronic from Pixels. He's not going to have a good time with that.
Well, that is going to be an ace the other way. We are back to even, 3-3. Those points coming up pretty quickly. May as well have been 3 rounds already drawing, and nothing in this between the two.
It's not... It's basically a tug of war on this map, you know. Ace for you, ace for me. It's the cookie jar.
No, we're not
the cookie jar's back.
There we go. That's what I was wondering when the cookie jar was coming out.
We all love the cookie jar. The cookie jar's back. Folks, get out your cookie jars. Exactly, but that's going to be the final. We might see another 2017 if they can keep this duel going. You know, they might get to 9-9 and then just start tying every single round. And we may see another 17-20 after seeing 17-20 on this map. So we'll just have to see how the cookie jar goes.
Yeah, they come around into the dirt again. Pixels in the back having some issues. Sved is not keeping pace here either. He's going to lose a position, but going into now the finish has to be clean. Oh, there's one down, looking like Kimmy might be able to finish this thing off, and he will indeed. Pixels as well. And there we go. Back the other way again. Dynasty take their ace back.
Yeah, 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you. Ferox getting an ace next round.
Really big cookies, though, these aces. They're jumbo cookies.
Oh, yeah. They're like the cookies that you get from a certain sandwich shop chain that are just gooey and so good, and they're huge. They're like big cookies.
The one that the trains run through?
Yeah, that one. And that's a mistake from Sved. Cool. We talked about the cookies and he got excited. That's a mistake from him. A mistake from Pixels as well. He's talking about cookies.
Not again.
Too many cookies.
It's going back the other way. The cookie is already being handed to Ferox. They just have to not make a mistake. Kimmy in behind and Sved right at the back. Can it be that Ferox can do it? Planetary Goose still holding pace at the front.
Hopefully that Planetary Goose will be able to hold himself comfortably in that position. But that's a mistake from Pixels. He's going to have to go back. We just got to pray that Kimmy can hold that position, deny them the ace, or it is the cookie jar theory once again. Kimmy actually moves his way to the front. He's broken the cookie jar and he makes it the tie. Oh, the cookie jar.
No more cookie jar. It's been smashed on the ground. There's crumbs everywhere. The crumbs are going to both teams evenly, but unfortunately, Dynasty already had a little stockpile of their own cookies, so they're going to be left ahead.
Not the Batman cookie jar. Oh, no. Pixels makes a mistake early. Oh, he's dreaming about cookies now. This is a problem.
Planetary Goose looking for that good line to take first position, but it's a tough fight with Kimmy. Kimmy Able to lose a little bit of speed there and still hold it through this section. A nice line from Planetary Goose again, and this is quite the battle for first place.
It is quite the battle for first place. 50 milliseconds separating Goose and Kimmy. You can see the gap closing in. Planetary Goose is ready to pounce on any mistakes Kimmy makes. And with
Goose.
that, that's the move he's looking for. Moving himself to first, 1.1 separating. Woo!
Crazy line there. And now Planetary Goose is the one having to hold the lead. Great line through that as well. And now into the slow section of slowdown. Has to hold a really good line here, doing it very cleanly. You can hear them behind him, and he is going to make the run perfectly. But Kimmy makes his move over Sved, who goes all the way to the back off a mistake, and will be another draw. They're just kicking the crumbs now.
They're just kicking the crumbs. They need to pull out the Hoover and, vacuum them up. But it is once again 8-5 in Dynasty's favor. 2 points for them, and they will take out the third map in the series. Will Ferox have a chance at this point?
Ferox, they're not far enough behind to say no, but Dynasty only need 2 points here. So maybe one win and an ace here for Ferox would be needed to make this clean. Dynasty would be only at 9 points, and they could be held from going to an overtime doing it that way. But it is going to be a tough ask for Ferox, who haven't been able to continuously win. I mean, it has been back and forth between these teams. Either one team will win, then the other will, or it goes to a draw.
No, back and forth's a different map. This is Slowdown. Completely different map entirely, but Kimmy knows that he has to get in front to deny them, and that's not what he's looking for. Sved and Goose, 1 and 2. That's going to be the ace. We're back to 8-8. It's still anyone's game. The cookie jar's back.
Look, they've done it out of order, but Ferox are still in this for that ace and the win. They could even do it with 2 aces here and make Dynasty look poorer than they are. Dynasty have had a fantastic run through this map as well, but it does require such tight lines. With an easier to finish map here, it is so much more important that you get the lines right.
Speaking of right lines, Planetary Goose made a powerful move through the dirt. He got a bit of a wobble by hitting the side of the dirt road and was able to push himself forward with a lot of speed, getting first momentarily, but could not capitalize on that. And now Kimmy and Pixels, first and second. Sved is just praying for a mistake. He's got to make some moves to catch up or pray there's a massive error to even deny them the chance of taking this map. But right now, Kimmy and Pixels are just comfy. They're just driving through the map on a Sunday drive. Planetary Goose isn't too far behind either. As we do. Oh, no, he's too far behind. That's the point. We've got Kimmy and Pixels. Sved is making a move, but he's not going to be able to catch up as we go into the final corner.
Doesn't matter.
It is close. That is an ace for Dynasty, and that's a third map to them. Ferox are going to be crying now.
And a win either way would have gotten that map. So Dynasty doing really well to take it with the ace. Once again, just finishing in style. Planetary Goose is going to back in through the finish line. The ace comes out for Dynasty, 8-11. And 3 maps to nothing right now. Ferox has to step on the gas.
I mean, we did mention that Dynasty is the former, basically the current runner-ups. And they have the experience in this, but we're moving into parkour, which is a map they both should know comfortably. It's still anyone's game. Even though it's looking in favor of Dynasty, Ferox could still take this map.
As long as we don't see anybody going way off the left side, right?
Continue
mentioning that? Yeah?
No, we don't talk about that. That's just, it's like that part of the track that does not exist because it literally doesn't exist.
Hey, at least the players that were responsible for that had a laugh at that with us, all right?
They did. They were like, yeah, we have no idea why we went off this side. We were trying something. It did not work. Let's move on. But Goose right now,
it's been given the try, and now it's done. They don't have to try that again.
They should be taking some notes from Goose right now, because Goose is currently in the lead with Kimmy in close pursuit. Pixels is making the ice slide cleanly. Goose and Kimmy just dueling it out in the front right now. It comes down to one of them having a mistake or a low transition like that. Goose is going to hold himself in the lead as we head into the bobsled. Kimmy with a clean bobsled, able to overtake, move into first place. Pixels is right there as well, ready to pounce on Goose the moment there's an error. But everyone seems too close. It's anyone's game.
Fantastic lines through the dirt, and it looks like an overtake. Pixels moving into second place. Just has to be a clean finish here. Early transition down on, and Kimmy and Pixels are going to take it out. Not much between the two of them. Planetary Goose following up tight as well. And Sved, with not even a bad time, comes in significantly behind.
That is not a bad time at all. A 57-2 is nothing to scoff at. And considering how close that was, you can see Pixels' line was so low. He was risking every second to guarantee the ace. And that's putting Dynasty in a great position right now. Basically 7 points away from them moving to their rematch against Voby. And that's got to be terrifying them, knowing they've got to go up against them again. But Sved crashed out. He's not going to be seen for a while. Kimmy is working his way forward, and he's right there joining the pack. It's looking good for Dynasty.
And Pixels following up in behind Planetary Goose, but right now looking like a draw. Now going into the identity of this track. Such a tough line to get maximum speed out of that dirt, and both players make it. Pixels just slightly faster, a little bit better transition on there, but doesn't make the overtake. Has to make this jump cleanly earlier down, but a straighter line from Planetary Goose will secure that this is definitely just going to be a draw.
That's a 4-1 in their favor. And I know Dynasty would be excited to get their rematch, considering last time it was not in their favor. Dynasty's been practicing. You could tell by the paces they're putting out. You could see from the consistency. So they're ready for the rematch. But Pixels makes a mistake like that. And just as I was talking about him getting ready for the rematch, pulls that out. What happened, Pixels? Come on, what happened, man?
Kimmy trying not to move back to third place here. Gets a very nice transition there into some speed into the ice slide now. It's going to be Planetary Goose with one of the better ice slides, but Kimmy actually gets massive speed out of it right towards the end of that run through the ice. Better transition here as well. And Kimmy, a good run up ahead right now. Planetary Goose still chasing.
Pixels making the move from 4th into 3rd as well. It's going to be handy for them to get that victory as opposed to a draw. That's a clip from Pixels, and that's not going to be good for him. Sved's able to overtake, and it comes down to can they hit the identity cleanly. Kimmy's made his way through clean landings. Goose and Sved in close pursuit, but that's not going to be enough. They move forward, and that's yet another draw, 5-2 in favor of Dynasty.
Goose was actually making some time up on Kimmy. I think Kimmy still probably had that in the bag, just too clean, but Goose made a tiny wheel tap coming up that hill. Barely lost any speed at all, but it did mean a bigger gap by the end there to that second place position. Dynasty looking good. Ferox still making their points though.
They're still making their points. They're working their way forward, but Dynasty, thanks to that ace, they're able to hold themselves higher. And with Goose currently leading the pack, it's looking like a Ferox victory, but still early days in the map as we head through the ice slide. Goose goes a lot wider. Sved bonks, and that's going to be him moving back. Kimmy's able to work his way forward now. I didn't cast anything. What are you talking about? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. But we do have Goose moving back into first position. Pixels at the front trying to duel with him, but that's a better line from Goose, and that's going to be handy for him. As we move up the dirt, Pixels actually getting the line he's looking for. A little bit more pace. But will Goose be able to hit this cleanly? We shall see.
Last moments in it, and Pixels still right behind for this chase. It is going to be an easy win here for Planetary Goose. Gets it cleanly. Sved in behind as well, and Kimmy might not be able to make the end of this map off of some poor sections up the dirt, unfortunately, for Dynasty.
Which is an interesting thing to note. Like, he was clean up the dirt, and we saw some very close runs from him. This is the dirt where he's failing. 4 points for Dynasty is going to be fine, but Kimmy needs to work on that dirt for sure.
I mean, this is probably the cleanest we've seen any two teams do that dirt section on this map. And Parkour takes... It claims so many on that that tight line to the edge. You've got to hug it as narrowly as possible to get the speed that you need for the jumps without the reset and the booster. It's very, very tough to do. If you haven't tried it yourself, I do suggest you go and check it out. And yeah, these two teams, they've been making very few errors compared to the rest of the competition so far through that section.
We are at a caliber... Oh. I was literally about to say we're at a caliber where there's not a lot of mistakes, but that was a mistake from Sved. We're at a caliber where we're seeing a lot of players, literally rounds boil down to the pressure of you've got to keep consistent or you're about to lose the round. And as you can see, Pixels has just made the move over Planetary Goose. Kimmy in hot pursuit. It is looking like a victory in Dynasty's favor with everyone hitting it cleanly. But it comes down to those really bad errors. And that's the only way that they're losing rounds. It's not like it's a few seconds here and there. Yeah. On this map, it's you've made a mistake, you go to 4th place.
Yeah, and it can be also that factor of, you make even that tiny mistake, you end up behind, you're looking at cars ahead of you, you push yourself beyond that limit, you cut it too fine, you just make that tiny contact that's going to make that second mistake and put you out of the competition for that round. Sved already making that small early mistake. It's not late enough to keep him out of this, but there you see it again, trying to make up that speed, makes contact a second time, and Sved is held well back. The upper 3 players going into the ice section.
Pixels has got to make a lot of moves to catch up to Planetary Goose here. Kimmy seems to be not too far behind. It's looking like they're trying to go for the tie here, but at the same time, if Pixels can make that move over Planetary Goose, they win the match. We move on to the grand final with them versus Voby, the rematch of the century. But it's looking like Planetary Goose is trying to deny that, but that's a mistake from him. Pixels is going to be moving forward. All he has to do is hit this identity cleanly, and we will be moving to the grand finals with Dynasty. One more jump, clean landing. Yep, that's all you can ask for. And that's going to be him in first. Kimmy coming through for the ace. That's 11-5 in Dynasty's favor. Planetary Goose screaming in pain. The Goose goes off, and he is gone. Congratulations to Ferox, but this is not enough. Dynasty are moving forward 4 maps to 0.
Yeah, incredible run there, but just that little mistake up the dirt. We were just saying how consistent everybody'd been up that. We see the mistake there right at the last moment, and the speed did keep him from making that final jump to deny Dynasty that 11 points for the win. Ferox falls back, and Dynasty moves onwards.
Admittedly, we've got to say congratulations to Ferox, who literally brand new to the regionals. New duo comes in top 4, keeping up a pretty good fight with Dynasty, but Dynasty proved their strength, and they will be moving forward into the grand final versus Voby, the rematch we've all been waiting for. Will Kuda and Spark be able to get their second win, or will Kimmy and Pixels prove that the practice pays off and take it away from them? We shall be seeing very soon. No? Okay, no comment?
Oh, I thought that was your throw to break at a moment.
Oh, no, God, no. I was making a comment. But we will throw to a break. Absolutely. I think a break is a good idea because people need to go to the bathroom.
I do too. Don't need to forget I did that.
Look, that's fair. Look, that's our bad, folks. We're great casters, but sometimes it's happy like that. But stick around, folks. Grab yourself some water, get yourself some popcorn, and get settled in for the Trackmania Apac Original number 2 or the 2508 Cup Grand Finals. And we are back with the Trackmania World Tour Apac Regional 2, also known as the 2508 Cup. Grand Final, Voby, Dynasty, the match we have all been waiting for. The showdown of the century, the rematch everyone's asked for. How do you think this is going to go?
Well, I mean, Ferox didn't stand up to what we'd hyped. They had some really, really good matchups, but I think that proves that Dynasty coming into this is just as powerful. I'm going to go for Dynasty on this one. Voby are the reigning champs, but I've always been a fan of the underdog, and I want to see Dynasty take the throne.
Look, I love our Dynasty boys. They're really good guys. I've been practicing hard and everything. But I'm sorry, I've got to go with Voby. Current reigning champions, top of their countries, top of their region. You cannot go wrong with that. I mean, what else could you ask for? They're currently the champions. They will keep the champion and make their 14 points. Keep in mind that regardless of this result, Dynasty are walking away with 10 points straight out of this. They are jumping ahead in the standings. But we move into the pick ban phase. It is going to be a Dynasty pick, Dynasty Team Red. And we have a ban on freestyle. Why freestyle, man? I want to watch that. And Slippy Slides.
No freestyle for us.
That is
and
a
Slippy
strong
Slides,
ban. Very strong ban.
That's a brutal ban for us. That's some of my two favorite maps to watch as well. Gyroscope being picked up first is always nice, though. Aero Pipes is number 2. That's what we want to see at Amame.
That's exactly what we want to see. Gyroscope number 1, and that would have been a Voby pick. Number 2, Aero Pipes. Number 3, Parkour by Voby, and it's got to be a number 4 pick going to... Come on, reps. No, Agility Dash picked there by Team Dynasty. Number 5, Slowdown. We got to see Slowdown again. We're going to see number 6, hopefully Flip of Faith. We'll see Flip of Faith. Will Pixels pick Flip of Faith, or will he pick Reps? It's going to be Reps and Flip of Faith. It doesn't even matter. It's going to be Reps first, then Flip of Faith. Everything's going to come down to those flips if it goes to even standings. I'm interested to see how this goes, but for the most part, it will be a showdown for the ages as we do start on Gyroscope.
Back and forth, the only map put out by default, not banned, not picked. I kind of respect not seeing back and forth. Sometimes it can lead to some really awkward finishes, but I'm really happy to see these first 2 maps up, Gyroscope and Aero Pipes, particularly at the grand final where we're going to see these completed well. We're going to see more consistency than we have in lower rounds here, and this is going to be some entertaining stuff.
We're going to see some very entertaining stuff. I mean, seeing how Kimmy and Pixels were handling the identity, and also seeing how Kuda and Spark were able to hold the identity, it's basically a showdown of legends who know how to do the identity. Everyone's got to go for the risky strat, knowing the strength of the competition we have here. But let's jump into it. Round 1 on Gyroscope. We are going to have a quick warm-up. Voby, Dynasty, the grand final.
Grand final coming up right now, and these 2 teams have been fighting for 2 days to get to this spot. Now it all comes down to this, the big points coming out, and everybody's just wanting a little bit of a dip in the pool in the front.
We don't want dips in the pool. Remember, you got to avoid the pool. Don't touch grass. If you have a problem, just jump around it. Problem solved. But round 1...
You can go in the pool. You're not going to go on plastic when you come out of that one. So it's not wet plastic.
Yeah, no, that's valid. We don't talk about that. No, we don't talk about that. But round 1, the players all getting started with this. It looks like an early lead from Kimmy, holding himself over, I believe that is Spark there. Unfortunately, still no Voby cars on my end. I do apologize in advance to Voby. I wish they worked. I may have to do some escape spamming to just pray that it works. But it's going to be Kuda moving up just behind Kimmy there. Pixels in that 3rd position. It's going to be Spark trying to push his way forward over the ice. This ice is a great divider between these 2.
Now Kuda coming in with a good line, might just be able to catch up here, get in front, looking for that transition onto the dirt. Doesn't do it quite as well there as Pixels, who does have the speed through that transition. Now into the identity, do we see the sideways strat? Yes, we do. Pixels goes for it, doesn't carry the speed he was hoping for it, and makes the blocks at the end. Voby picks up an ace out of round 1, making them look good.
They are looking very good. Able to hold themselves to the identity. Kuda with a 56-1. Quite comfortable to start with. He's just going in going, hey, I know what I'm doing. Let's get this going. Straight away, easy ace. if you were Dynasty, you'd be sweating.
He would indeed. Spark, with a lot of speed out of the first corners, does make his way into the first position in the early part of this track. Has to make the thing, the ice loop, bobsled loop, work. Hasn't come out in front, but will gain that back after a nice corner through the dirt.
You can see right now, Spark and Kuda basically one after another. Kimmy's got to try and split that up. Well, that's going to be yet another ace for Voby, as we do have Kimmy trying to make the moves there. Clean ice slide from him, but he does lose the gear, and that's going to kick him back to 4th there. Spark and Kuda looking very handy on this round as we do head into the infamous identity. Will we see 4 sideways? We shall see Spark 1, Kuda 2. Pixels falls off. Kimmy bunks the ball.
Oh.
That's an ace for Voby. They hit it too cleanly. That's a 6-0 for them.
6-0.
Oh.
Very early, very large lead. Kimmy and Pixels dropping off behind. Wanted to see this be a better competition, but Dynasty, they're going down the big way.
They're going down the big way. If they're going to go down on this map, they're going to go down in style. And that style is Pixels falling into the pool. Remember, don't touch the pool. That's the problem. But Kimmy makes an early mistake and clips, and he's going to be pushed back a lot. It's going to be Pixels actually getting through the thing quite quickly and overtaking Voby. Voby have got to make a move to try and catch up and overtake.
The classic thing, claiming Kimmy at the back here as well. And now it is a fight between Pixels and Spark. Pixels actually well out ahead now. Really good lines. Does he hold it through the ice to claim that first spot at the end? Great transition back to the dirt as well. Does look like he's going to hold this, but now has to do the transition more cleanly. He's not got a lot in this. Has to do it right now. Does go for the sideways strategy. Doesn't get it perfect. Bounces off the water, the buoyancy, sending him clear of the map. But Kuda, he's going to have an awful time, but as well still manages to get in first.
So in case you missed it, Pixels fell into the pool. Kuda hit the blocks. Spark hit the blocks. They all had to recover. They were still able to get the victory out of it to make it 8-1. But they all failed. Oh, no.
Well, Voby aren't going to perfect this. Dynasty have claimed a point, but Voby again with a win there, and it does mean that Voby are looking really good on their own map. I think at this point, really you are just looking towards Dynasty being able to do this back when they're on theirs.
I mean, that's very fair. We are moving into, what was after this? It wasn't Slippery Slides. Slippery Slides was banned.
No, we are going into Aero Pipes.
Aero Pipes. So we're going to see if Pixels can recover after last final. Keep in mind, on Aero Pipes, this was the final for them.
Ooh,
and
Kuda.
Pixels messed it up bad. He is well aware of that fact. He has been practicing on it, getting himself, I believe, a top 100 global time comfortably.
Wow.
So he's going to be proving that he actually knows how to drive the map, and last time was just, you know, the intense pressure.
You really don't need to be getting a top 100 global time to take a win when it comes down to the consistency.
Oh, no!
Here. That's a good sideways section from Pixels and Spark, but that is a big mistake there from Kimmy.
That mistake from Kimmy did cost him. It is 10-2 in Voby's favor. First map goes to them as we move into Aero Pipes.
Dynasty able to get 2 singular points out of that one, but not enough at all. And yeah, this now in Aero Pipes, if you're looking consistency, there's question marks on everybody after that block session.
Look, I'd call it like nerves, knowing that this is the second final, the second time they're versing each other. So there's nerves there. But Kuda and Spark were just like, nah, this is our pick. We got this. We're just going to have to see if they will be able to take on Pixels, who currently has one of the best times in Asia and OCE on his home ground. Comes down to the Aero Pipes.
Aero Pipe is one of our favorite maps to watch, and it is being done by our top 2 teams, Voby and Dynasty, going head-to-head now.
Voby and Dynasty taking on the first round here. We do have Pixels taking an early lead, but Kuda gets the low line, exactly what he's looking for. Heading down, full grip, keeps as much speed as possible. Let's see the speed they have out of this section. We do have a 300 entry and 290 out of that for Kimmy and Kuda. That's some nice speed from both of these players.
Yeah, seeing that plastic grind as well. Lovely mechanic brought into a major map here, and now the speed that they can carry through from that, very much benefiting Kuda. Kimmy not too far behind, may be able to make this up. Of course, anything goes once it gets down to the identity of aero pipes.
We can see the entire map, as stated yesterday. We can see the entire map, the players playing cleanly. The moment you get to the identity, all bars are not held. It's GG, just go on, go nuts. And it's going to be coming up. Come on, Kuda. First try, no dramas. It's aero pipes. There you go.
Behind.
Landing one.
Both make the first transition clean. Both make the second as well. My goodness, what a finish from the first three. Pixels making an error, but will be able to finish off the map.
This is supposed to be Pixel's map, and seeing that's really unfortunate for him. But early victory for Voby is good, knowing that Dynasty picked this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Voby looked so strong last time, but you can see Dynasty with the chances in this one as well, especially with the clean finishes that we did see. Definitely more than enough potential in this for Dynasty.
You know what? I'm going to state it now. I am disappointed. We picked aero pipes, and I was hoping for a fiesta. We all saw yesterday's matches.
No, you're not allowed to be good at this.
No. The maps, we don't want the maps to be harder, but it's aero pipes. Where's the fiesta? Where's players flying off the side of the second pipe, you know? Where's the roof slides? Where is all that? You know, they just hit it too cleanly. These guys are too good. We want the crashes, man.
How dare they?
How dare they? Pixel's making a small mistake, and that's going to push him back.
I'm kicking crumbs.
Oh, the cookie jar's broken, and we're kicking the crumbs.
Dynasty leading up right now with Kimmy, but Pixel's some distance behind. They're going to have to look to probably hold a draw here if we see the consistency through the identity again. This is a good chase onto Kimmy here, though. Oh my goodness, Kimmy goes wide, and it's a finish for both Kuda and Spark, the ace for Voby.
Oh, that was clean from both of them. You could see Spark actually got a little bit of airtime before the last quarter pipe and bounced off it. Perfect air brake from him, though. He flattened himself out, and he was able to drive straight in. That's a handy lead for Voby on this map, but still no fiesta. What's going on?
Yeah, first map pick for Dynasty. You wanted to see them be able to come up early, but now that 5-1, 4-point gap means they need more than an ace just to even up from a very early stage of competition here in this second map. Now Pixels able to look good through the first section. Looks like he might find the sign, though, and it's a lot of time loss.
He's looking good, finds the sign, and he's not looking good. That's him at the back of the pack. Kimmy pushing his way forward, holding himself in that first place over Kuda, 0.25, sorry. Second separating the two. It is a close fight, but Kimmy seems to be gaining on Kuda ever so slightly as we do head into the dirt. This dirt is so tight. Like, it is insane the angles you have to get through here.
Yeah, at least with speed. And if you go high on that left side as well, you get airtime, and that will ruin a run. Kuda now coming through. It's even very more than possible to end up on the roof of that. That's a big mistake. And Kuda is going to make it through. A bit of a bounce, does land on his wheels. And Kimmy, oh, that is a huge error from Kimmy, who looked to be able to guarantee a draw there. Spark makes it yet another ace for Voby.
Pixels failed again on the identity, and that identity is brutal on him today. This is the map they picked, knowing they'd have an upper hand, but it is currently 8-1 against them. This was not their pick today. Keep in mind, when they versed last time, basically the same result.
The pressure is just too much for Dynasty right now. Kimmy already making a mistake, sending himself to the back of the pack. It's very close between the top three here, though. Kuda losing a little bit of time here, but might be able to make it up through the ice slide. It is a very tricky ice slide, actually. A very sharp angle needed to avoid the danger and get the good line through there. Looks like all three of them able to do it. Kuda slowly closing that gap again.
Kuda is trying to catch up and make sure that they can get away with a victory off this, but Pixels is looking to hold himself steady, knowing that a victory or an ace and Voby move forward with this map under their belt. Kuda makes a mistake. It looks like Pixels makes a mistake. It's going to be Spark able to move forward. Kimmy is going to be trying to catch up and deny them the points.
Kimmy, no.
Pixels made another mistake. Kimmy made a mistake. It's going to be Spark moving forward. Kuda in that third position. We get down to the identity. And if they can hold their positions, Voby will be taking this map. Spark makes the first jump. It's going to be Kuda through the second. Kimmy lands the second. No!
Oh, that's very, very well done by Kimmy. It's not enough to catch him up. It will be a draw, but Dynasty are looking down the barrel of a defeat with 2 points yet again on their own map pick this time. Kimmy actually did brilliantly there. That map is so much harder when you don't have good pace off of the grass, and Kimmy didn't have that pace, made it cleanly regardless. So definitely some big respect for Dynasty for having that consistency, at least in Kimmy, but Pixels is going to need to pick it up.
Which grass are you talking about? Because I remember dirt being there, so... Which grass are you meaning?
Into the... Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of... yeah, no.
We're thinking of Flip of Faith where there's penalty grass and you don't touch grass. But the dirt, as I said, dirt's brutal in this section. There's a lot of tight angles that seem easy at first glance. But as soon as you realize how tight the angles are, you can understand the level that these players are playing at. But right now, it's looking like Spark and Pixels are currently up the front. Pixels is trying to deny Voby and make sure they can get an ace. But at this point, Spark's too far ahead. It's going to come down to, can Spark hit the identity? If he does, GG, we move to map 3. But as we come into the dirt, everything's to play for.
Now Kimmy chasing down very, very well, but well behind. And Kuda as well after making a mistake. But there's big time even between those two, so really this is down to Spark and Pixels here, and Pixels chasing up. Spark might have just made the run. He's gonna bounce though. It costs him the time. Pixels comes through, and the draw is all that's needed for Voby to make a win here, and Kuda has fallen behind. It will be a victory outright for Dynasty, but the 1 point to Voby win it for them.
Exactly. Is that 1 point? Voby just needed a first or a second place, and Spark being on track with Pixels was enough to do it, but Pixels' win wasn't enough. We moved to map 3, and it's currently 2-0 in favor of Voby on parkour. Oh no.
There is a potential for full sweeps on our Sunday today, and Voby are looking for it. They want to do it. They are looking to take this out and be our champs with no argument in it.
There is literally no argument in this, considering the fact in the previous match against... who was the previous match again? Asia Overdrive. Yes, they played on this map, and Voby wiped the floor with them on this map. So we are going into this with Dynasty currently on the back foot. Voby way ahead, able to go into this comfortably. All they got to do is drive cleanly, and they'll be moving forward into a basically guaranteed win slot.
Kimmy, not Kim 1. I've been informed since yesterday, chat. It's fine. Kuda now actually making his way in front of Kimmy, though, with a great ice slide as well. Does he have the speed back through the transition? Not costing him too much there. But now Kuda and Spark both trying to lead this up for an ace. It's a very, very tight second position here with Kimmy in the pack. And second place himself right now, coming into the final corner. That means everything here. Gets a very nice line through the dirt. But is it enough to snake this? Kimmy doesn't have the speed. The jumps are there, and the ace is there for Voby.
Kimmy had a huge fight on that one, but you could see the pace through. Kuda getting a 56-6, and Spark right there as well on a 56-7. Kimmy had no way of catching up through that. They were just too clean, and that's going to be an ace in Voby's favor, showing how dominant they were after Kuda put out a 56-1 before.
The chat is way too happy with the Kim 1 reference. That's gonna add to that. I'm never living that one down. That's a mainstay of Apac from now on, I guess.
Yeah.
Here comes Kim 1 again through the back section with some speed. Has to make it up in this ice slide though, and looks like he will be able to at least contest second here. Spark and Kuda holding it for now. Kuda now has to make this transition, but it's very, very clean from Kimmy.
Very clean from Kimmy, but never mind. It's going to be Spark and Kuda up the front. Pixel's still in the fight, but he is slowly dropping behind. It is 0.2 separating the two. And watching these two in tandem is just a wonderful thing to watch. Kuda lost a little bit of speed, having to go for the wiggle. This might be the move that Pixel needs to go forward, but it's not going to be enough. That's yet another ace for Voby, and that's 6 points up on map 3.
Incredibly tight finish there, though. Everybody just following each other through, and a clean run from everyone. But that speed getting set by Kuda and Spark is really, really setting a benchmark for the region. And now Spark, with an awesome first section, is going to lead this out by some margin.
That's going to be handy for them. And at the start of this map, Pixels makes a small mistake, and that's going to push him back. Kimmy's the only one who can deny them yet another ace, but Spark and Kuda, once again, working in tandem. As I said, synchronized swimming. That's what we look for, but Spark nearly loses it. Kimmy loses it.
Yeah, that's close.
Pixels has got to recover. It's got to be Spark and Kuda up the front, 1 and 2. As long as they can hold it steady, that's got to be yet another ace, but we're only halfway through.
And Kimmy couldn't afford to play a safe line there. He was already half a second behind that second place. So, yeah, Kimmy needed to try and make his move there. Some lag on Sparks for a moment, but does make it through that corner. Pixels doesn't have a lot of speed here, might not be able to make the jump, does so though, and it will be a finish from Pixels. Kimmy coming in just barely in time for it, but will make the mistake, may not find his finish after all. He's gonna go to the grass.
He's going to go to the grass. He's touching the grass, and that's his mistake. That's another ace for Voby. We did say don't touch grass, and he's touching grass.
Don't touch grass.
Don't touch grass.
It's actually a deadly allergy to all professional Trackmania players.
Oh, yeah. Like, when they go to the doctors, they have to specify, oh, I've got an allergy to grass. It makes me lose my rounds.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, the round losses, and the doctors always, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And there is no remedy. It's an incurable disease, this allergy to grass from Trackmania players. So my sympathy is to all you other Trackmania players out there. We're in this together.
We're all in this together, but right now the pack is slowly splitting. You got Spark at the front, Kuda at the back. They can get away with a tie now and still move forward with the map win under their belt. Now we can see why they picked parkour. Spark and Kuda both really comfortable. As we head into the dirt corner, though, you've got Pixels and Kuda both stuttering. Are they all right? They'll be fine. They go down. They're still driving. Kuda actually made a powerful play moving into second there. 1 and 2. There's the 12-0 sweep in the finals. 3 maps to 0. They've got their brooms ready, and they're cleaning up.
And there is the unbelievable and undeniable evidence that Voby are the champions of OCE. They've got one more match to prove it on paper and write it down once more, but they were already the leading champs coming into this tournament, so they were the one that everybody wanted to take down. Nobody has been able to do it.
No one's been able to do it. They've had a clean run straight along the top. First round, they had a bye because of their high seeding. And then it was just win, win, win. And now they're in the finals, and they're like, oh, this is the final. Got to clean them up to make sure that they are the reigning champions. And as we could see, they have that consistency there. And that's all you can ask for.
And now it's Kimmy straight out of that first section and into first place. Around first corner, will lose it though, and it is a tight pack through the early section of this. Despite Dynasty getting swept, an unbelievably fast pace from them almost every single time through that. Very few mistakes compared to other teams we have watched challenge that last map, and I expect to see it over and over again. It's just the consistency of Voby. They can take that pace and they can do it over and over again. They are not going to lose a map.
They are not going to lose a map, but right now, Kimmy and Pixels are first and second, trying to stop the 4-0 from coming out, but it all comes down to the identity on this, as we can see. Spark is only literally 0.3 behind. It is a very close fight among the top, but Kimmy takes a slower line. Spark has a few lags, but we do have Kuda up in the front. Pixels in close pursuit, trying to stop them from getting another victory. But as we go on to the next uphill, it is going to be close. Pixels gets a bit of airtime. Spark's able to move. Kimmy's able to move as they go into the knife edge. Kimmy makes a mistake. It's going to be Voby moving ahead as they do go to the identity. Everything could change, though. This identity is brutal.
It's that grass section there I was thinking of when I said dirt last time. Yeah. Straight into the identity finish. But yeah, this is... Point still stands on both maps, but here as well. Getting some speed into the identity here is so crucial to get a consistent and fast finish.
Something else that is notable about these maps, when the mappers build them, they have to put the boosters and stuff like that. So if you've got great pace prior to it, you're still going with a booster. Oh,
Yeah.
it does appear we've got a slight pause quickly. I believe we're fixing some internet issues.
Kimmy,
It does appear
again, yep.
Kimmy, once again, is having some internet issues, but we
That
are back.
Wi-Fi, man.
That Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi. It's really
I think
unfortunate.
the cookie crumbs got into the router. That's the problem. You've got to clean up those cookie crumbs.
Look, it was
Get the
hot.
vacuum out.
It was hot. He had to turn on the fan. The fan took the cookies crumbs and blew it straight into the router. Or his PC fan. Could be the PC fan as well.
That's
But
true. It just swallowed a few of them.
It's
Choking up in the
just a few
computer.
of them. You know, maybe a choc chip here or there.
How many times has the tech expert told you you've got to clear your cookies?
Yeah, that's why. Yep. I always wondered why they were called cookies, and now I understand.
Exactly,
Because the
see?
cookies clog your fans. And
Yep.
that's all that
That's
happens.
exactly why.
But-
That's why they were named that. The first guy to ever build a computer just ate biscuits over the fan intakes and was like, you know what? This isn't a good idea.
Please, don't eat your cookies in front of your computer. Don't risk putting cookie crumbs in there. Just, eat your cookies in the living room.
Speaking of bad ideas, Dynasty might be regretting turning up at this point to fight Voby. I mean, they have been fantastic. They are undefeatable at this point.
Voby, like as I said, they're the champions. They have a clean sweep going on right now. Dynasty have had to have a bit of a fight and had some close matches, but still able to make the grand final alongside Voby for the rematch. And the rematch is not going in their favor. It is 3-0 to Voby, and they are ahead. Voby aren't like messing around anymore. It literally just comes down to that consistency on these maps, and Dynasty doesn't have the consistency right now.
No, and Dynasty, it's a joke that they wouldn't want to turn up here. Dynasty have been fantastic, but round after round, Voby are just that little bit more exceptional. Voby are so hard to take down, and Dynasty have gotten closer than anybody.
They have gotten pretty close considering some of the rounds have been relatively close on the scorelines. Some of them have not, 12-0 on the last map. But it's not
But if
necessarily...
you look at the rounds...
Oh, yeah.
Even when you're looking at that sweep, the rounds are so close time and time again.
It is the thing. The rounds are so close, but in the end, they can't pull enough rounds together to keep themselves in the lead. And unfortunately, it is going to cost them this potential win. They need to get those rounds going. But we move back into round number 2 here on Agility Dash. Let's just see if they can pull it together.
Dynasty coming up. Ferox is angry. They want me to double down on Dynasty. Poor guys.
Nah. Show them the love. We appreciate all the new orgs who have joined. Especially this regional, we had Dynasty, Ferox, and Antic all joining. And we got to show some love for Dynasty. New org to the scene, and second place is still formidable for them.
Yeah, I mean, jokes aside, Dynasty have been fantastic, and they really are, round for round, showing that. But Voby, once again, out in front, they're just showing why. You can have a clean run time and time again. You can even have pretty decent consistency, but when you combine those two things like Voby are doing, it is just indomitable. And right now, Spark trying to show it again with a second ace back to back as we come back into our second round. Spark's still chasing up Kimmy, the separator, going into first place for a moment. Can't quite hold it. The inside lines benefiting, but only for moments.
Only for moments, and as you can see, Kuda and Spark are being relentless. They're not giving up on this. Kimmy's got to make his way through cleanly to deny them yet another ace, and moves himself into that first position for a moment. He's just got to hit this identity cleanly, and he's going to be taking that, but it does appear he's slow. Spark falls off, Pixels falls off. It's going to be Kimmy taking out the first place. Kuda is going to recover and make himself into second. Spark getting the third. It's going to be a tie, and that's 4-1 in Voby's favor.
Yeah, I mean, great that Dynasty got a point on the board, but they've got to start making gains back on Voby to show us exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly. It's one of those things that they could take these rounds and we can see that they could take the first place. We've got to see if the other player can take that second to break that up. But 6 points away from Voby, and they're going to be moving
Pixels.
into the winning spot, but Pixels made a crucial mistake, and that's not looking good for Dynasty.
He did it twice. Pixels
Spark
is
made a
well out of
mistake.
this one. Big mistake from Spark, but I mean, realistically, with Pixels that far back, the best they can hope for is that Kimmy carries this through for another draw. They don't need a draw, they need more points. Kimmy still pushing through though, not a lot of time between him and Kuda, who is fighting back into this. Doesn't quite get as early a drift through that, but will get a better line through the fast section and carries the speed just that little bit better right now on Kimmy's tail. He's gonna make the move. Kuda through into first place, now into the slow section, has to make the drift better and will do so as they come in through, looking towards that last section and then the identity.
I was getting so hyped for the way you were casting that. I wanted you to keep going, but Kuda's getting through the knife edge cleanly. Kimmy's trying to catch up, but made a small mistake that's going to cost him. He is now 1.5 seconds behind, a little bit of a clip, but gets enough airtime that he's able to land. Kuda gets through the identity cleanly. Kimmy is trying to catch up to try and deny this, but it's not going to be enough. Kuda gets his first place. Kimmy gets his second. Where is Spark? Spark?
No, Kimmy gets a third.
Spark sniped
makes
him!
It through. And Pixels, well behind, will not be looking to finish this one as another ace comes out of Voby with that snipe. Both Kuda and Spark making it through against all odds.
Spark just came out of nowhere. He was just like in the back, you know, third place. Suddenly, bam, there's your ace, 3 points away. Man. We lost focus. We need to breathe.
Just tunnel vision on Kuda and Kimmy, and no, here comes Spark.
Easy for them to get through that, but Spark just showing that he's not one to be concerned about, as we do have Kimmy taking the lead early on. Kuda is in that close fight there. As we do get through this dirt section, Kuda's getting a little bit of pace on Kimmy, but it's not going to be enough. Spark in that fight as well, trying to deny Kimmy. If they can get one more ace, they take out the regional. And Kimmy makes a small mistake. That's going to cost him.
Get some air.
But it's
Kimmy,
still
push well back.
Still possible. Still possible to deny them.
Absolutely. And gets a good corner through there into the fast section now, and will make his time back on Spark. Not quite perfectly in front of him yet, and will lose a little bit of time here. It's a chain corner though, and will have to go into the slow section where Kimmy has done very well. Lifts a wheel on the checkpoint though, and loses a lot of time there as Spark makes his way through. Teleports well ahead actually, off a bit of a lag there, and Spark and Kuda have time over their opponents once more.
1.7 seconds through that checkpoint, now 2 seconds. All Voby have to do is get through this identity cleanly, and your Trackmania was... Oh no! No, Kuda! Oh my god!
He reset accidentally!
No!
He's gone to the back, it's a draw! The bounce was perfect, he actually could
No!
have made that!
He could have had the ace! We could have ended it there! But they want one more round. They want to go on something good.
Would that be considered illegal? I have no idea. It certainly was not planned that he bounced like that.
Not illegal, but that's unfortunate. That's now 2 points away for them. They are still well and truly ahead. They just wanted to play it out.
Like that.
We're just playing it out, you know. Got to get content.
Yes, yeah.
Content, yes. But we do have a close fight. Kuda's just clipped. And that's going to be Spark in the lead. Pixels in hot pursuit. Trying to deny that right now as we do head onto the plastic drop down. It is Spark getting it in the front. Able to get a clean line through the plastic and get his uphill drift, but Pixels is trying to catch. Only a millisecond loss on that. Spark getting the clean drift early, and Kuda is too far behind to make a difference.
Kimmy's fastest through the speedy section and making a lot of time. Goes straight into second place and still gaining on Spark here. This is a brilliant line from Kimmy. It is taken back for a moment, but Pixels is still in this is all he's trying to say. Big mistake from Kimmy. Kuda still well behind though, can be salvaged. But now that means that this is all up to Pixels to take it back from Spark.
Spark has just got to get through this cleanly, and he's going to get at least a draw. 1 point is going to go in his favor at a minimum. But we do go into the identity. He's hitting the first jump cleanly. Pixels has a lot of catching up to do, but it's not going to be enough. Spark gets through the second. Pixels are trying to make a move to get to the end, but it's not enough. Kuda is right behind Kimmy. Kimmy makes a mistake. This could be the round. Kuda gets through it cleanly. And your Trackmania World Tour Apac Regional Champions are Voby.
Kimmy wipes out in the last second, sacrificing the map. and Voby get the exact 10 points they need. What a victory. Do it cleanly in 4 maps. It is the sweep the entire day, and Voby responsible for 2 of them now to take their victory and their place first position on the podium.
That was an insane final. Yes, we didn't get the ace we were looking for, but seeing that mistake from Kimmy was the nail in the coffin. Voby able to take it out 4-0, including a 12-0 sweep on parkour. Congratulations to Voby. They will be walking away with 7 Trackmania World Tour points. Dynasty, great performance. Second place for them will get 5. And that is looking really good for them. Voby now have 14 points, and Dynasty are sitting on 10.
Yeah, it's still a good look for Dynasty, and you can see why. There were so many good pushes from Dynasty, and even though they couldn't get a winning round in that last map, they were so close to it time and time again, but they pushed themselves to the limit. The only mistakes they made were when they were absolutely sending every inch of their being into the fastest lines they knew possible, and Voby were just able to do it that bit more consistently each time.
In the end, Voby proved their dominance, and they are going to be walking away pretty handily. Rezier is going to be very proud of his team, and Voby are going to be happy with that outcome. But that is the Apac Regionals. That's the stuff we want to see. Congratulations to all the teams involved. Big congratulations to Voby and Dynasty for the finals, and a massive congratulations for Voby to take that out in the end. Wrapping up, is there anything else you'd like to add before we head off?
Well, just a big thanks to everybody for having me on. All you guys at home, the viewers, you are used to edamame, but I'm the new face. I'm the imposter here, so thank you for being very welcoming here, even with my Kim 1 and everything else. It's been a fantastic time, a blast being on here. Thank you to SRK for inviting me on, and edamame, of course, for supporting me through my first times here. This has been a fantastic weekend for me, and I hope you guys at home enjoyed it as much as I did.
It's been a lot of fun to have you on, Gex. It's been an exciting cast. We had a lot of wonderful matches, and I know I couldn't have done it alone, so thank you so much for rocking up, Gex. Thank you to all the competitors and all the orgs who have picked up new teams. Stick around for the EU Regionals coming up in a few hours. It's going to be their finals day, so we're going to see who the EU champion is for their regional. But signing off for now, I've been your host of Thunder from Down Under, your beautiful Australian caster, Edamame TV. Joining me, Gexcast, man, myth, legend, the sexy shirt. And we will see you guys next time!